CedTalks, where we separate fact from fiction. Mess it up a myth every time. This that CedTalk, yeah, we set it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence-based when we build these frames. CedTalks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defined. They say the ancients had science. Hold up. Pause. Knowledge ain't the same as methodological laws. Observation, yeah, but control tests rare. No predictive models, you gotta be fair. We respect the past, but we keep it exact. Precision matters when you deal with facts. Astronomy grew, astrology split. One stayed empirical, one lean myth. The shift came through naturalistic method. Just standing of eyes, that's how we embed it. Not culture bound, not tied to a place. It's a universal tool for the human race. This got CedTalks, yeah, you said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence based when we build these frames. CedTalks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defiance. They blur definitions, start moving the goalposts. Turn fried to a claim that don't hold close. Science ain't on, this a process refined. Independent of culture, space and time. You can't redefine it to fit identity. That's how you lose all epistemic integrity. We test every claim, we don't just believe. If it can't be verified, we don't receive. From early observers to labs today, it's rigor and doubt that paved the way. Not name-dropping scholars to win a debate, but data and method that validate. So what's your ideology? That's cool to ask, but truth ain't decided by the loudest class. We question it all, no sacred ground. If it don't hold up, we break it down. This that CedTalk, yeah, we live in direct. No fear in the facts, just intellectual respect. No more, no mirror, no fantasy, just truth, logic, and consistency.
What's your ideology? Seems to be the question round here lately. Every discussion rooted in blackology, fueled by the lack of integrity. Case in point, the so-called Reggie, misleading the people, high-level foolery. Smash, come of us, king's monologue. It must be a conspiracy. Nostalgia got him stuck in the past. Always reliving history. Ask Dr. Ben and Clark. Say their names, here's our spark. All one big fantasy. Smoke and mirrors, only confusion, no clarity. The nigga bro, no Quincy, Van Sermon, and Rashid. Now they teaching God energy, but that's another story. Reggie out here seeking glory. For him it's about his legacy. Highest little movement ended prematurely. Reggie was denied his opportunity. He signed at the feet so surely. It was meant to be his destiny to the king of blackology. That's your ideology. Seems to be the question round here lately. Confirmation bias, poor research quality.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another CedTalks, where we promote scientific literacy because it is an intellectual vaccine against the hustlers, hoodwinkers, flim flammers and scammers in our community, where we distinguish fake philosophers from science communicators. Good afternoon. All right, y'all see the title of the show? We are going to take a walk back in time. We are going to go to the beginning of this whole drama and see what it's all about. We have identified a singular culprit that needs to be taken to task. See his name in the title? Reggie. Reggie, you're a problem. You're a real problem. So today you need to be dealt with. Before we deal with our good brother, I have a program. So let's do what we do. Today is a fun fact. Did you know that ancient Egyptians could diagnose disease and perform basic surgeries, but had no concept of germs? Medieval texts, like the Edwin Swift Papyrus, show detailed anatomical observations and treatments of injury. However, illness was often attributed to supernatural causes or spiritual influence. This perfectly illustrates the difference between practical knowledge and scientific understanding. They had the skill and experience, but not yet the experimental framework that defines modern medicine. Today's figure, today's science figure of the day is Ibam. I can't even say that name. Shout out to Chef Al Hayatmam. He was born in 965 CE of the Common Era, and he died in 1040 of the Common Era. See, when he lived, often called the father of modern optics, Haytham had groundbreaking contributions to the study of light, vision, and the scientific methodology. Wrote an influential work, Book of Optics, emphasized experimentation over pure philosophy, critiqued earlier thinkers like Ptolemy, helped move inquiry away from speculation towards testable investigation, while still operating within natural philosophy. His insistence on testing ideas marks a key step towards the scientific method. If you are going to tell the story, tell it correctly. You don't need to lie. You don't need to flim flam. None of that is necessary. From the beginning of this endeavor, we have been telling simply the history of science. Right? This is all where it started. Does it a chronological step in knowledge to the modern scientific. In each culture, each epoch, each time period within its proper philosophical framework. You have early earth and hunter gatherers who were busy doing basic survival, trial and error, practical knowledge, the ability to build fires, survival. Then later on, agency, animism, nature itself. Who did it? Who made it rain? Who made the blaze flood? You see, we're moving into structured mythology, mythological cosmology, the gods, the Egyptians, mythological philosophy. The Greeks, over time, developed natural philosophy, agency, authority, still pretty much with the individual. None of this is science, as you've heard Reggie himself articulate. Then you have the advent of the modern scientific process with a philosophical framework that is called methodological naturalism, proper and the scientific manner in which we investigate nature. Nature is the agent, nature is the author, nature speaks, nature dictates. What was wrong with that? If you want to use proto-science, for particular groups of people, that can be applicable. Yeah. However, prefer not to use those terms. They have some anachronistic tendencies and they can be used seen as derogatory. However, it is a scientifically appropriate term. Reggie jumps out the window. The Africans had science. There's African science. There's African science. Already creating a dilemma. I, under the assumption that Reggie had some integrity, some academic integrity, presented Reggie with an academic article examining what we call African science. It was that moment that I realized what an infant Reggie was. I realized in that moment, wait a minute, I am not dealing with a mature human being. It says African science right on the title, a pseudo dies of the sword. That was the moment, Reggie, your initial process of your own annihilation began. You have no room in this community no more. Absolutely none. You have effectively, by your own semantic confusion, now reduced the ancients to not even having any knowledge. Because they didn't have science, because you equate science to knowledge. If you admit natural philosophy isn't science, then Reggie, you see the problem you've created for yourself? All in an attempt to do what? Your blackology, you heard Europe and you went crazy. Your emotions got you all in a twist. You just lost it. Create a whole semantic confusion. You you got the barbershop boys convinced of your academic policy by means of proximity. By means of proximity. And when we have all this confusion, when we're trying to accurately just properly give the chronological development of human understanding, it's a human endeavor we're talking about. Your blackology gets in the way. And you create an unnecessary friction. You're out there misinforming, miseducating, assuming authority that you don't have, writing an abstract 20-page abstract. That's an abstract, Reggie. Cherry picking sources. I mean, every aspect of post scholarship was on display. Every aspect of post scholarship was on display. So now, of course, like I do presentations so that they're chronological. They're hard. You can see it. Make my case and put it out. That's just how I like to present myself. So we're going to get into the presentation. We're going to slow walk our way through this process and identify every confusion, every category fallacy that Reggie has induced into the community. Reggie, you've always been a problem. Every debate, you seem to take the wrong side. Where did Egyptians learn their language from, Reggie? Come on. What do you mean they came from the slave? What is that? Black bull nonsense. I mean, every aspect of this conversation, you have demonstrated your ignorance. And even with regards to Egyptian culture, I just learned that stuff in the last 4 years. And it is not rocket science, Reggie. So all the hoop and the ham and the hoop and the how you're doing is about a not to do. You are a fake. You're a phony. You're a fraud. You're a flim-flamming, bamboozling scammer. You front with this pseudo academic posture. Well, you need to write an abstract and write a paper. Ridiculous. Keep my name at your mouth. That conversation has digressed to my birds, you stupid, ignorant moron. Because you have no more bullets, right? There's nothing more academically sound you can bring to the argument. Your time in this environment is done. Pseudo killers, community of skeptics, we represent an epistemic rupture, a fundamental shift in how information is acquired and presented. We are no longer engaging in historical revisionism. The flim flam, boom flam flam. You so anti-white man, yet you so want the white man word. Science, science. Utter ridiculousness. At this point in time, the communities had matured and grown out of the stupidity that you seem to be or call intellectual. You're a pseudo-intellectual of the worst kind, because your misinformation is just causing confusion, unnecessary distortion. You got thunder coming over here sounding like an idiot. You got Brass thinking he has an argument. Well, modern science, that prefix is there for a word echoing you. You got clowns echoing a clown. That's interesting. Old barbershop conversation. Brass don't like you. You're a useful tool in an unnecessary attempt to undermine what we do. Fooled all y'all. Everybody talking science. Everybody talking science. I think I've yapped long enough. Getting into my presentation where I can really have some fun. Now let me share my screen. No. Mm. Here's my screen sharing. Let's check. Yes, my screen is sharing. Let's go. Science versus knowledge. The Reggie confusion. From presentism, category fallacies, category errors, and the semantic drift derailed the history of science. The culprit. Dun, 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 dun. Did ancient civilization have knowledge? Absolutely. Did they have science as we define it today? That's a very different question. And confusing to those two is where this entire debate went off the rails with Reggie's semantic nonsense. This debate, I mean, you use the word debate because it's a conversation, it's arguments, but there is no debate. Let's be honest. The word debate here is simply indicative of the conversations that is happening. We appreciate you again for talking science. However, didn't start with evidence. It started with a definitional collapse. The central claim made by the so-called Dr. Reggie, the Dr. Reggie, when you got doctors in this community, Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. York, which name some of those so-called doctors again, and see what they actually be promoting and teaching. And if you want to have that pseudo title attributed to your name. But Reggie falls right within that category of fake doctors. Dr. Africa, the Melanin King, all the pseudos in this community carry that fake doctor title. And now we have the latest edition, the last of the dying breed. We have the polymath, doctor of everything, Dr. Reggie. Science is knowledge. That sounds intuitive, but it's fundamentally incorrect. Said that from the beginning. That's why I simply say, hey, science is methodological naturalism. Because I'm not getting down the road of definitional confusion that these men obviously wanted to engage in so that they could practice their historic revisionism. Because if science is simply knowledge, then mythology becomes science. Religion becomes science. Animism becomes science. Folklore becomes science, and at this point, the term science loses all meaning. But Reggie indicated religion isn't a science, mythology isn't a science, natural philosophy isn't a science. Then why are you creating this unnecessary confusion for? To be relevant? What we are dealing with here is a classic category. It's not the first time. This presentation, you're going to see certain things continuously come back because it is the same revolving circle because these people are stuck in a particular way of thinking. Science is not just what people know. Science is a specific methodological framework for generating and evaluating knowledge. So science is methodological naturalism. Got the truth. Oh, you're using the definition too strict. Man, stop crying. It is required when you're in an environment of academically immature individuals that feel that they can make shit up. I'm in the methodological naturalism camp. I do not do natural philosophy. You do not get to make it up. It isn't so by fiat. That includes systematic observation, hypothesis forming, experimentation, replication, peer review, institutional verification. And this is a system that was developed. So the developers of the system should never be practitioners of the system, especially if the developers of the system were dead before the system was complete. Morons arguing semantic nonsense. Thunder, chef, carrying people down an unnecessary rabbit hole. Asian cultures absolutely had knowledge, technique, observation, practical experience, but they did not operate within a formalized, self correcting methodological system. The scientific method, modern science. Science is methodological naturalism. That distinction is not disrespect, it is historical accuracy. And you know, the thing is, well, when you say that, you're minimalizing or you're denigrating what the ancients did. Now Reggie comes back and says they have snappy observations. Yo, man, you know how ridiculous and annoying you are to actual intellectuals when you say dumb shit like that. Excuse my French. Y'all see I wrote a song, right? Because when I get that upset, that frustrated, my therapy is writing songs. So excuse me if I get a little during this presentation. I'm a gun saying that, Reggie. This is where the term proto-science become essential. Reggie didn't want that word. So you have to take it away from him. Because he wanted to give the ancients science. Proto-science refers to early observational systems, pre-experimental reasoning, natural philosophy traditions. The step before, the step before science. Now, obviously, this would put the Egyptians still outside of this realm, right? And this is what upsets him because his blackology is triggered. Because the Egyptians wouldn't have been doing proto-science because they are firmly within the gods did it. They had no reason to seek for a natural explanation by natural cause. Nowhere there. The gods did it. It's good enough. Practically fix the situation and thank the gods. Yeah. This stuff isn't hard to understand. So why would a self-proclaimed polymath like Reggie. Oh, Reggie didn't even know the difference between science and technology. For example, Egyptian medicine, Mesopotamian astronomy, Greek natural philosophy. These are foundational, but they are not yet science in the modern sense. Foundational, but in there yet, so we can't call it science. A whole argument about a lot, nothing. Why? Why, Reggie? Why? Show me the scroll where you see controlled experimentation. Who was going to dare challenge the authority to have a falsifiability put in place? You was going to challenge the priest or the pharaoh? Would you get your head chopped off? You claim to know all this about Egypt, but yet you assume that these things were in place. And if you didn't assume these things were in place, why are you running your mouth? Why the hell are you saying anything? Institutionalized peer critique, thunder, that took time to develop once the royal societies were established. Within that, you still have a process of development. Thunder, you mean to say? Yes, I mean to say. And what now, moron? Ironically, ah, this is classic. We got presentations now, mega straw manning again. Y'all accusing us of presentism? Let's be clear. Presentism is imposing modern categories onto the past. What Reggie is doing is the opposite. He's flattening historical distinctions by projecting a modern term, science, backwards onto fundamentally different systems. That is not avoiding presentism, my brother. That is what it is. That's what y'all are doing. They had sloppy observations. Well, they had sloppy observations. Well, define a sloppy observation of what? Their eyes weren't working the same way? They dribbled on the observations. What was sloppy about them? Even the terminology you use is ignorant. But again, even Reggie conceded to that critical point. Natural philosophy is not science, Reggie. But you talk so much without thinking. You're just yapping. You close your eyes and does this. And you know he's lying. And that admission has consequences. Because if natural philosophy, Reggie, isn't science, then, Reggie, you see why you can't come back in this community? You disrespect everything the ancestors stand for. It was about accurately putting our history, the African history, in proper perspective. Now, people are going to go say, Reggie said they didn't even have knowledge. Bunch of dummies. Metaphysics isn't science. Mythological cosmology isn't science, then, Reggie. Animistic explanations, then, Reggie, aren't science. And if you equate science to knowledge and none of these systems are science, what are you saying, Reggie? What are you saying, Reggie? Now, concept of paradigm shift. I talked about paradigm shift. He didn't understand what that word meant, challenging me on that too. The transition to modern science involved the formalization of experimentation, mathematical modeling of nature, institutional corroboration, standardized methods. That means the authority could not be by man. It wasn't the Aristotelian frame of reference or the Delinean frame of reference or the polemic or yeah. It wasn't none of these schools of thought that rule the day anymore. Complete shift, a paradigm shift, a fundamental way, different way of engaging in any particular field. Transportation has always been a thing. Horse and buggy was the mode of transportation. There comes a paradigm shift when you get the combustion engine. Everything about that experience, about that thing called traveling, fundamentally changes. Paradigm shift. We've experienced many of them. The last one, as we were talking about, is the paradigm shift and how vaccines will be produced and how medicine is going to be much more targeted. It's like precision strikes because of that mRNA technology. Paradigm shifts, Reggie. Key figures. Let it resonate for a second. Francis Bacon. Methodological reform. You're telling me that Francis Bacon wasn't a scientist? No, how could he be a scientist when he's the one establishing the methodological reform? That means he's part of the old system, right? Isaac Newton, mathematical physics, mathematical modeling of nature becomes a paramount aspect. So if he is putting a particular pillar in place, is he now a practitioner of a system that you're creating? These ignorant questions become redundant. Never the point we were trying to make, but easily dismissed. Look, but even here, we must be precise. These individuals are transitional figures, not fully modern scientists in the contemporary institutional sense. Science as a system is not built by individuals alone. That's the whole thing. There's no formalized structure. There's no formalized structure. But what part of that did you not understand? It is built by structure. Another major confusion, labeling ancient individuals as scientists. We enter the word into the lexicon, and what do? They go and misappropriate the term again, cherry picking, confirmation bias on steroids. This is a retroactive classification problem. Calling ancient figures scientists ignores historical context, imposes modern categories, creating misleading continuity. Presentism 101. Again, unnecessary distortion, all in attempt to do some manipulation, some connect the dots thingy to get to ancients having science. Completely wild exercise, but have at it. Like Seth said, it would be more accurate to describe them as natural philosophers. That was the most hilarious moment ever. This man sitting up there, chat GPT and learning in real time, arguing with reality, and he's reading. They would be best described as natural philosophers. Yes, chef. That's what they were. Observers, practitioners, not scientists in the modern sense. Come on, get out of here. This is where we started. After this presentation, one of the bum squids jumps up there, crack. These individuals, bomb squids, Ashe, what's his name? Pokemon. Ashe is the last airbender, the four elements. The Egyptians do the four elements. Pokemon. You think evolution is Pokemon. This is what we're dealing with. He jumps up there. Come on, Africa. Yeah, science. Come on. This man think making fire, cooking is science. This is where we are. Shout out to King J. Put belt to ass in that debate. And here comes Reggie. He's going to prove African science. Pull the article. Let's examine what is African science, Reggie. There we go. Look, let's read it. In the moment again, I told you, when I realized how much of a clown this dude was. There is nothing dismissive about recognizing indigenous African knowledge systems, medical practices, agricultural experience, environmental understanding. Again, it's paramount to our existence. Without the practical understanding of your environment, you have no humanity. Moron. But calling all of that science without qualification is conceptually sloppy, historically inaccurate. A more accurate framing, like we've been saying, these are knowledge systems that can be studied, tested, and in some cases integrated into specific scientific frameworks. The article that I brought was not a discrediting, was just examining the reality of it and the pitfalls, the killer areas where it does not resemble modern science in the least, the issues with not having a proper framework, and how ultimately that we should take these indigenous practices into the classroom, formalize them, study them, so that they can be applied. Reggie wasn't willing or able to have that mature conversation. Science evaluates knowledge. That's what that article was doing. It does not automatically validate it. In the semantic drift, expanding science to mean everything, then using that expansion to make historical claims, right? That is what Thunder was trying to do. That's what Brass, the barbershop boys, the whole conglomerate of losers trying to do. All under the trumpeteering from the real trumpeter, the Pied Piper Reggie. You snake charm them, got them all wound up. Each one gets shot up. This creates confusion, such as everyone was doing science. Science is science, y'all. Science is science, y'all. I remember the nonsense coming out of Chef mouth. Science is science, y'all. All knowledge is science. And again, if everything is science, then nothing is. Get out of here. This debate is not about respecting ancient cultures or recognizing their contribution. It is about maintaining conceptual clarity. Y'all like to muddy the waters and act as if you know what you're talking about. And you don't. Ignorant. Cut hair. Be quiet. Smoke them cheap cigars. Reggie, go beg for cash app somewhere over there. Just stay out of the real academic environment. Loser have nothing to do here anymore. You're a wannabe that never was, never will be. You missed your opportunity at Blackology, the king of Blackology. That movement died way too early. And now that epistemic rupture has been long happening. It's finally going to make a clean break. Your kind is over. Flim flam scamming nonsense. The position being critiqued suffers from category errors. This is what you guys do. Presentism, semantic inflation, and simply misunderstanding of the scientific methodology. It's just gotten ignorant to the subject. Brass, pay your thing, move, get out the way, play. Play tomorrow again, asshole. Ancient civilizations gave us knowledge. The modern world gave us science. Confusing these two don't elevate the past. It erases the very breakthrough that made science possible. Y'all are discrediting ancient cultures. Y'all are disrespectful in the conversation. That's my presentation for today. That's your culprit there. Big bad Reggie. Big bad Reggie. Mm. Let me go into the chat. I'm going to drop the link. Come up here. Speak your speak. Have your say what you say. I'm going to take my time. Shout out in the chat. Shout out to Mika. I see King Sosa in the building. Indigenous black man. Thank you for being here. Who else is here? I see this is Kyle in the building. Shout out to everyone. Thank y'all for being here. Thumb up the video. Thumb up the video. God killer, what it do, what it do, what it
Hey
do.
man, great presentation, man. Shout out to the pseudo killers. Shout out to everybody that come and help give us honest and fair critique, man. We appreciate that a lot, man.
Yes, sir.
Great job again, bro. Appreciate you taking your time, man. Doing good work instead of arguing with the nuts.
I ain't doing that.
It's
I
kind
ain't
of
doing
it's
that.
kind
Not
of
going back
better.
down.
It's kind of better, yo. So what I'm gonna do is all day I've been watching the game film. You know, white people will lie, black people will lie, but that game film won't. Game film don't lie. So we're gonna rewind the clock all the way back to March, March 25th, March 30th, where I do my first presentation. And guess who I talk about? I bet you can't guess. I bet you
The
can't guess. I bet you can.
indigenous knowledge,
Yeah,
ancient
yeah. The hell,
cultures.
look. The hell with all that. I don't want. I don't. Of course, I did, and gave them all the props in the world. But guess what? I really talked about. I talked about Ibn Khaldun. How about that? And I gave him his proper framing. Guess what I said? I said it's the bridge. See that? So we don't need barbers coming in who's not going to respond again. I appreciate that. Appreciate them not responding because they mess up the conversation.
Yeah,
But
you
I,
mess up the
I
call.
I talked about Ibn, the book of optics. I did all that. So it's disingenuous to act like all of a sudden you came with something. That's not true. I gave the title of the presentation was. I think I put the thing in there, yo. It was the history of scientific thought, bro. I went all the way to the thought, how they was thinking. You feel me? So this is for Thunder. Hey Thunder, the chimpanzees, bro. You know what I'm saying? Print chimpanzees, you know, are in the Stone Age, old gorge technology. They're in the Stone Age, and they show medical behavior and self-medicating.
Yep.
I said I'm gonna send him some sources so he can read it. Right? I'll read I'll just do the simple Washington Post thing. You know the Washington Post. It says chimps sometimes care for others' wounds. Scientists want to know why. So they use actual certain bark and medical plant and certain insects and care
Yep.
for wounds on themselves. Right? Because Thunder says that Humans always had signs. He said Homo erectus had signs, right? I say, don't leave out the chimps. He was like, what? I say, don't leave them out. Since everybody got it. So, Thunder, I will be sending those sources to you. If anybody doubts that, there's a whole serious video. Give gut stick Gibbon, okay? And she talks about chimpanzees in the Stone Age. She's a qualified person on the said subject matter. I was getting ready to watch it until I realized you was live. But none of those sources be coming to you, and anybody in question of that they self-medicate, take care of wounds. Yeah, I'm saying chimpanzees do. Then come holler at us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm saying they had some problem with my presentation. If it wasn't clear, I think Sosa said I need to do it over. Put a one in the chat. Somebody said it was stuck.
Oh yeah, mine do
I
that.
didn't see the presentation. It was stuck.
You was just talking. Well, that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Just yeah, just
You
went
just
in.
came off,
Just
seemed like you came off the top of your head. Anyway, we have a special guest coming to the channel for everybody. We have a special. I'm not going to tell y'all. I'm not going to tell you. We have a special guest coming to the channel because my enemies will try to use it against us. We have a special guest coming to the channel, and they will specifically talk about those words that we keep getting confused. We're going to talk about that. That has been confirmed for the record. There you have it.
okay.
I got a question for you
Yep.
there, Sosa.
We
I'll
know.
call you in a minute. Call you in a minute, Sosa. And you already know what it
Yeah.
is.
So
You already know how we do when we get these experts. Go ahead. What?
mm-mm.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead and say they said it was frozen. So I'll just run it back again.
All right,
They
running
they
back,
say it
running
was
back.
frozen.
All right, running
Yeah, I'll
back.
run back again.
I'm gonna get off and let you run it back. But I'm gonna play the first episode. All right, the first episode. That's all I'm gonna let you know. Episode 1, how the daggone conversation got started. Episode 2 will be Reggie's African science. Episode 3 will be my response to African science. And everything that I'm saying now, you will find them in those early episodes. So don't say Unc changed the conversation because I didn't. I explained science, African science, and all that science, and all that science is not science. I actually explained why when you say science is modern science, I said that in episode 2. I don't mean to holler. Am I hollering? I'm saying, okay, okay. So y'all thought I didn't have it, huh? Of course I got the episode. Y'all didn't see it because I did it on Sarnetta Studios. Most y'all don't even mess with Sarnetta. I snuck it in on y'all. I faked y'all out. Now we're
Mm,
going to see how the conversation was.
mm.
We're going to find out that I changed my stance. And out of nowhere, you're going to find somebody working in the barbershop dive out the window with the clippers in their hand. You know how when you go to the barber shop, you put the cape on the person when you cutting the hair? Well, this barber took the cape off the person's head he was cutting. He wrapped it around his neck. He grabbed his best clippers and dove out the window flying. And you know what he said? He said that Ben Carson was a scientist. This is in response to all the material we did. Newton is a scientist. Ibn is a scientist. Well, sir, you missed 2 episodes, didn't you? Because in none of those episodes did we say any of that. Me and Sosa was on the show. We had the dude threw it out of nowhere as he dove out the window, and we had that basic conversation that wasn't part of the episodes. So that comes in episode 4 with the foolery that we seen him dive out the bar because he got a barbershop on the 15th floor. High level barbershop, best barber in town, no doubt. But he grabbed the cape from the person's hair he was cutting. He snatched off their neck. They say, "Where are you going?" He was running by them as he snatched it. He put it around his neck. He grabbed his best clippers in one hand and the comb in the other hand, and he dove out the window. He forgot to open the window. He dove through the glass. Doosh. Me and Sosa was standing at the bottom. We seen something go bloop. We said, "Well, what's that?" The only thing that survived was the clippers, the comb, and the cape. We say, damn. Man, that's Sheffrin. Let me get off this show. I'm gonna call you up so
I
yeah,
appreciate
man.
that,
That's
God.
my man right there. Big up to the barber who hit the concrete and started teaching. Woke up teaching Ibn. When he got up there, when he reformulated in the next episode, he was like, "How about the Ibn?" He did about 10 people on the Ibn. He was in Arabia. He was dizzy, punch drunk, fighting something he wasn't even doing, swinging. You know how you get knocked out and you swinging. He was swinging at nothing. We say, man, why do they keep talking about? And then the wrongest dove in to the rescue.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And started talking about something we never was even talking about again. Yeah, how did they do that? I'm never letting y'all frame the conversation where y'all want to frame it. It's
Never.
episode by episode. And I'm going to prove it with the dates, the presentations, and show you that they made all that up. You know why they made it up, yo? You know why they made that up? They made it up because they couldn't answer that central question. What? Did the glass was stop full in Europe? Point blank. Matured in Europe.
Ask
It
Brass
became
is
an adult.
everything.
They never could find it nowhere else. They ran to the bridge. They ran there. They ran there. But I already talked about the bridge. See what I'm saying? Anyway, let me get off here, bro. Do your thing. That was a fun. I had
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Now y'all say didn't see it. So now let me rock out one more time. I don't mind going back in. Um here we go.
I'll be back when you finish. I'll be
All
back.
right, to show.
Uh,
Appreciate it. All right. Let me come over here for a sec. Y'all can see my screen? Yes? Okay, good. Okay. Science versus knowledge. Reggie confusion. How presentism, category errors, and semantic drifts derailed the history of science. The culprit. Dun, 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 dun. Reggie Marbury. Cash App Reggie. Polymath Reggie. Pseudo sophisticated Reggie. Pseudo academic Reggie. Did ancient civilizations have knowledge? Absolutely. Did they have science as we define it today? That's a very different question. And confusing those two is where this entire debate went off the rails. African science, ancient science. It says it right there, science. This debate, again, I said this is not a debate. The fact that we are having dialogue and discourse is why you use the word debate. But debate in the sense of there actually being two sides, there isn't. Didn't start with evidence. It started with a definitional collapse and the central cause of it. It's a claim made by the so-called Dr. Reggie, the Phil Valentine type Dr. Reggie, the Dr. Layla Africa type Dr. Reggie, the Dr. Sabi type Dr. Reggie, the pseudo doctors for the conscious community. The Dr. York step of the community. Snake oil salesman, fraud, flim flammers. Science means knowledge. Cynthia. So the ancients have knowledge or they had science. Sounds intuitive, but it's fundamentally incorrect. Because if science is simply knowledge, then mythology becomes science, religion becomes science, animism becomes science, folklore becomes science. And at that point, the term science loses all meaning. Let's be honest. Stoopies, you know what kind of intellect you must have. You got to tell me producing fire isn't science? Cavemen had science. You ask you, oh, you're gonna cook it. You know, you gonna tell me, man, cooking is science. Come on, you trying to tell me cooking is science. Reggie comes on, well, you know, this to say they didn't have science when it's kind of, you're minimalizing. What? No, Reggie, you jump out the window behind Ashe, who thinks the four elements, air, wind, water, and fire, equal to the elemental chart. Come on, up. Come on, up. You tell me they knew how to manipulate elements. You know how to control water. They were airbending. What we're dealing with again, classic example of a category error. Science is not what people know. Science is a specific methodological framework for generating and validating knowledge. That's why I say science is methodological naturalism. Keeps it easy, don't get confused, go down these rabbit holes with these people because I know what they want to do. These are Blackology 101 revisionism, historical revisionism, romanticism, presentism. This is what I knew we were going to be dealing with. So I stayed very specific, strategically right there through his command. Oh, he's using the very narrow definition. Accurate. For a reason it's narrow. That's what you lean at. So you see narrow definition and do as if that's a negative when it's actually a positive in this conversation. Oh, second time around, you're going to get different angle. That includes systematic observations, hypothesis formation, experimentation, replication, peer review, and institutional verification. This is what we are talking about as science. And don't use the semantics and do the prefix thing of modern science, science, same thing. This is what it is. Ancient cultures absolutely had knowledge, techniques, observations, practical expertise, but they did not operate within a formalized, self correcting methodological system. Methodological naturalism is science. You see how the words all fit the paradigm, fit the framework, although it's a philosophical framework I continuously mention. But if you talk about a framework, all these things fall within that framework. And if you don't have that framework, you ain't doing science because that framework represents a philosophical approach, how we think about nature. And we can see the evolution or the change in how people observe and understand and interact with nature. That distinction is now, note, not disrespect, it is historical accuracy. Reggie claims to be the historian, the polymath. He's a historian, he's an Egyptologist, he's better than all the experts, he's a lawyer, he's an author because he wrote the Black City Plan, but that would be what a political strategist as well in that aspect. Now he's a scientist by proximity. All of this is by proximity, right? Because he's not actually none of this, but he claims these titles and sets himself up to be a forerunner in the conversation when he's absolutely clueless to the conversation. He did not know what methodological naturalism meant, right? And came back with the God particle. And he's insist on tying nomenclature and equating that to system of operation. Man, get the hell out of here twice. This is where proto-science, proto-science, did a whole presentation of a proto-science and whole straw man. Straw manning the position. Completely ridiculous. Proto-science refers to early observational experimentation, observational system. Pre-experimental reasoning, natural philosophical traditions. But here's the problem. Reggie knew that this would kind of put Egypt out of the game because they are mythological philosophy. They ain't really trying to describe nature on nature's terms here. That's not what you're seeing here. Reggie knows it. It boom, bam, boom, bam, bam. For example, Egyptian medicine, Mesopotamian astronomy, Greek natural philosophy. These are foundational, but yet they are not yet science in the modern sense. They're not, just simply not. Because it's only modern science with that institutionalization after that, that word I like to use, the epistemic rupture period. 200 years of the scientific revolution. We did the chronology yesterday. But why? Why won't they practice in science, Reggie? Since you're a scientist and you're science and the science and the scientist, and why, Reggie? Show me the control experimentation. Systematic falsification. How? How? Who was going to challenge the authority of the priest and the Pharaoh, Reggie? You? How? Because he was going to tell him to write a paper? How? You were going to tell him to write a paper? Just a second. All right. Systematic falsification. You was going to challenge the authority of the state, Reggie? You? Not you. Who then? Was that going to happen? And even so, was there institutionalized peer review, peer critique system? Even when the Royal Societies was established, like Sosa indicated, I'm see certain things just frustrate me when someone's having a conversation with good intent, and then you get someone here who's trying to abuse the situation and carry the conversation somewhere it shouldn't be. Thunder, disingenuous. You came over here because you were going to do that thing. Made yourself look like a complete moron. I'm gonna say it again, moron. That antagonist position you play, you need to actually have the required intelligence to play it in a proper way. Because one Sosa said that process was incomplete, therefore you can't consider Newton a scientist or that he was peer-reviewed, because peer-review process is institutionalized much, much later. Within these royal societies, there's a process of development because you're talking about a system. Aren't you a computer guy? Don't you know that systems are developed? So, Thunder. So, what was the intent to come and derail the conversation yet again? Ironically, the accusation of presentism is being misapplied, accusing us of somehow being undoing this. Y'all don't understand. I went through a debate in which there this discussion of how we are framing and how people are looking at ancient practices. We understood the new modeling where they're moving away from using certain terms that create a comparison or evaluation based on modern definition. So we understood what presentism is and never for a moment engage in it. Y'all are imposing modern categories onto the past. But what he's doing is even worse. It's the opposite. He's flattening historical distinctions by projecting modern term science backwards onto fundamentally different systems. That is not avoiding presentism, Reggie. That is it. That is the definition of presentism. They had a sloppy observation. They had sloppy observations. The mere fact that you codify and quantify and measure what they were doing in such a light is indicative of presentism. That is presentism 101, Reggie. That is what you would do. Irony of it. Y'all heard the video. And y'all gonna hear the clips again. Reggie. Well, natural philosophy isn't science. Everybody choking. And Reggie's on his high horse, because he's teaching again. Religion isn't science. This isn't science. Well, Reggie, you have just created a conundrum for yourself, my good brother. Because now you have equated knowledge, all knowledge, to science. Natural philosophy is a form of acquisition of knowledge. And if this process is not knowledge, then you're claiming that these ancient cultures had no knowledge, Reggie, because they had no science. You see the semantic trap that you created for yourself by your own ignorance and trying to be boom, bam, 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 bam. You've tied yourself up in a knot. You have now stripped the ancients of all dignity by your stupidity. Because they're not practicing natural philosophy, they're not practicing science. They're practicing natural philosophy, so they don't practice science. They're practicing mythological philosophy. So it's not science. And if you equate knowledge to science, then Reggie, but are you that dense that you couldn't figure out that didn't make any coherent sense what you were saying? Because again, metaphysics, Reggie, at this point, isn't science. Mythological cosmology then isn't science. What the Egyptians were practicing isn't science. And a mystic explanation, so if you go further back, they weren't practicing science either. So you're saying science is knowledge, and these knowledge systems don't equate to science. So they had no knowledge. See how ignorant that is. I'm going to continue to emphasize this is what you brought, Reggie. I keep talking about a paradigm shift, an actual break in the system. Reggie, transportation has always existed. We walked, we rode horses, we developed horse and buggy, and then there's a fundamental paradigm shift. You went from horse and buggy to combustion engine. You went from having an animal to feed, a biological agent, to now having motor oil, gears, and the like. It's a paradigm shift. Why? The system of operation and the more what you can do with that possibility. A whole different world open. A whole new world. Y'all got me singing. Paradigm shift. Well, so, no, that's not paradigm. Paradigm shift needs to be written down. What kind of ignorance is that? Written down? You engaging in a conversation where the nomenclature eludes you. You have no idea what I'm talking about, yet you tend to want to engage. Again, the case in point, when Reggie finally understood what methodological naturalism was, because he did not know, went and looked it up to make his argument. Reggie doesn't concede. Reggie goes and says, well, they talk about mitochondria, Eve. They got the genetic atom. The louder I get, the louder the birds get. Give me a second. Outside you go. Give me 2 seconds, I'll be right back. The birds don't like Reggie. You hear me calling Reggie name, and you know what derogatory comments he had to say. So they don't like Reggie. Excuse me for that. So this is where that paradigm shift comes in. A fundamental different way of dealing with reality. A fundamental different way of dealing with reality. You no longer get to make it up. This is what you guys are fighting for. The ability to make it up. No, you can't. Not permitted, not allowed, can't. A formalization of the experimentation, mathematical modeling of nature, Newton's contribution, institutional corroboration, and standardization of methods. This is when we start to see an actual development of a coherent system of gathering knowledge. The modern scientific method, this is a complete break from anything before, a paradigm shift, a fundamental different way of doing things, and a fundamental different way of engaging with reality. Key figures often cited include Francis Bacon, methodological form reform, the system, the framework. Can he count as a scientist? No. He's a natural philosopher, philosophizing over the new system that that we need to develop to acquire accurate knowledge about reality. One of the fundamental aspects of it is modeling nature by mathematical means. Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton. These are transitional figures. So you guys want to muddy the water, have an insignificant and irrelevant conversation because you got beat the hell down, and even doing so, prove your ignorance. These are transitional individuals, not fully modern scientists. You looked at the timeline yesterday. So if Newton is dead almost 50 years before the formation of the completion of the modern scientific model, how can he be a scientist? Only by means of another word that Sosa introduced into the equation, and now you see they're playing and fluttering with that word trying to figure it out. Science is a system. It's not built by individual alone. It is built by structures. And these structures develop over time. Karl Popper's falsifiability comes into the equation when? Another major confusion. This is the word that Sosa introduced. The muddying of the waters unnecessary because you already lost. Y'all are done. Reggie's over. Another major confusion, labeling individuals as scientists. This is a retroactive classification problem. Sosa explained this. And the dude is sitting there being ignorant and belligerent. Now, I can appreciate sometimes you play the antagonist role, but when we are in the middle of a serious conversation, you come and be the class clown and be belligerent as well. Sosa's trying to have a good faith conversation. I would have cussed your ass out. Sosa's trying to have a good faith conversation. You straw man this man all the way when he was actually correct. Calling ancient figures scientists ignores historical context. Again, presentism imposes how do you say the word, chef? Chef? Tell me how you say that word. How you say it? Modern categories. And it creates misleading continuity. That linear progression mind frame you guys are trying to insist on. Why? Because you can't get around what we present. You try to do the connect the dots thing. So if we get them to modern science, then Newton was a scientist, but not yet practicing modern science. Then he was a scientist practicing science, right? So then if you have him practicing science, then go further back, and then you have ancient science, and these are scientists as well, right? Because that deductive reasoning doesn't work. Science is counterintuitive. Dummies. How many times we gonna have to hear that? We can hear the deductive reasoning and laugh. Silly, ignorant, infantile. Oh boy. Well, Chef, it would be best accurate to describe them as natural philosophers. Wait a minute, Chat GPT. In a modern context, what will you call them? In a modern context, that would be a scientist, but that would be historically inaccurate. Best way to describe them would be natural philosophers. Ain't that what we've been saying? Moron, emotional Catharini with clippers. Science is science, y'all. No, they are more accurately described as natural philosophers, observers, practitioners, not scientists in the modern sense, because they are establishing and creating the framework in which this operates. Newton ain't a science. No, come on. Yeah, if you retroactively want to apply that title, good. But what is the conversation we've been having? An historically accurate, academically sound conversation. Go ahead, call him one. That doesn't change the fact that we could just pop him into history. Where does he fit in history? Oh, where does the modern scientific method completely it starts here? Who are the individual? After this, you got scientists, right? So, oh, he's nowhere here. He's about 50 years removed. Oh, he was instrumental. Okay, so we're going to add him to the bunch and not leave him out. Now that makes logical sense when you're trying to illustrate, educate, and bring these conversations along. But when you're at the point that you're at this level of the conversation, where you can talk about frameworks and philosophical concepts under which they were built, you are no longer having an infantile conversation talking about these people as scientists. Grow the hell up or get out the way, brass. Play it again. Move, get out the way. Look, may I say it with a little bit of Caribbean accent. So when you clip it up, you could put that derogatory picture that you think is derogatory to me, put it up. Move, bitch, get out the way. Get out the way. Your cheap cigars, just as cheap as your name, brass, cheap ass metal. Lying, habitual liars, phonies. They're not scientists in the modern sense. Get out. I mean, if you're going to go all the way and double down and fight as hard to say that Newton is a scientist, then what are we doing here? Bro, like you really think you sound intelligent, right? And that's the funny part. That's the funny part. You actually believe you sound intelligent. You actually think you are manipulating or have that level of intellect to do that. You have convinced yourself that you are actually smarter than the average man. Nigga, blind man gonna see you coming 20 miles away. A blind man stand up and watch you coming. You see how easy you were dealt with? Everybody had you figured out, bro. Everybody had you figured out. African knowledge versus African knowledge versus African science. This is where the whole thing hit the fan. This is where the whole caboodle hit the fan. Reggie gets up on Sarnetta trying to discredit once again, what we're doing, the whole proto-science thing. He goes there. What we're doing, the whole proto-science thing. He goes there. Okay. Thank you. I just had to check, make sure that you were up and running. So we had African knowledge versus African science. Reggie comes out challenging proto-science, supporting Ashe's nonsense, African science, because they're conflating the conversation. The Ashe and what's King J had a debate, and King J went straight into the philosophy of science. Boom! I said he's found the golden goose. He's found the goose that lays the golden eggs, and he put belt to backside on Ashe. Pure ignorance. Hunt the trailing animals is science. Cooking is science. These are universal principles, right? When you realize, well, these are universal principles, all humans. The bone, the calendar bone, right? We seen contemporary in Europe around the same time. King J was on the money. Here comes Reggie, moving the goalposts, African science, as if we would never acknowledge indigenous African practices or African culture. Reggie wants to do a whole to do. I jump up there with an article to engage in a conversation because he's calling us out. Mind you, you're calling us out. You have a thought? You have a source? You have a source? I jump up there with a source, and Reggie displayed his immaturity and his lack of basic comprehension. That was the most ridiculous thing. Reggie, that was the day, that day was the day you started your own demise. That day brought you to here. That day put me on your head where I'm never coming off. I'm going to run you out of this community. You're a scammer. You're a fraud. Disingenuous. Why I came up there to have a conversation in good faith. 2 sentences. I didn't do anything. Let's examine. Let's read the article. Let's go through it because we can clarify this situation here. You want to do the boom, boom, 20 questions. Let's go through the article. What you scared of? Kick me off the panel? Bro. Smash did that. See where he is? Coming for you, Reggie. I'm going to run you out of this community. It's the last thing I do. I'm petty like that. Yes, I am. But you know I can be petty like that? Because I'm 100% right. Brass, I ain't the smartest brass. Never claimed to be. But I'm smarter than the whole barbershop bunch on any given Sunday, twice on Monday, and maybe even 4 times 3 o'clock in the morning if you wake me up. My head ain't clouded with too much other stuff. I'll beat you all the way down. There's nothing dismissive about recognizing indigenous African knowledge systems, and that's what came up there to do. Medical practices, agricultural expertise, environmental understanding. The article was actually saying, we should engage with our indigenous knowledge the same way that the Chinese, for example, did with their indigenous practices, where they codified it, standardized it, and put it into institutions, right? So now you can systematically learn Chinese traditional medicine. There would be nothing wrong with establishing a curriculum, putting indigenous African knowledge system through the scientific process and putting it into academia. The article even says you might even discover the actual active components or working system behind the mythological framing. That is what I was up there to do, right? To have a mature conversation with what I assume to be an adult. Come to find out, just put enough pressure, and the frauds and the flim flammers come flying out the woodworks. And then the pseudo dies at its source with the most infantile comment. Look, it says it right there in the title, African Science. Idiot. But calling all of that science without qualification is conceptually sloppy, historically inaccurate, and a more accurate framing, which we've been saying. Indigenous knowledge system, traditional knowledge system. These are knowledge systems that can be studied, tested, and in some cases integrated into the scientific framework. Again, the article that I was proposing to Reggie was actually qualifying these cultures. Wasn't not dismissive because that is not what we represent. But what we don't represent is misinformation. I have no problem of appreciating traditional indigenous cultural practices. Reggie, you've never been to any traditional African ceremony. You've never been bathed by a voodoo priest or priestess. You never experienced none of those things, bro. I live in the Caribbean. Who you talking to? Slow your roll, bro. You not on my level. You never was. I came into a space where you was. I'm not a bully. You're accepted. I'll accept you. They accept you. I'll tolerate you. You never had my respect or my honor. None of that. And I don't move into a space and bully. But you saw straight through you from jump, bro. You're a fraud. You always been. I came up there like a scientist. Let's evaluate this with an article. You don't automatically quantify it or validate it. You investigate it. What are we talking about? Then you would have the proper framing. But you were too insistent to trying to shift the conversation, move the goalpost to win something or be relevant in this conversation when you absolutely aren't. You had no idea the difference between science and technology. Clueless. Using terminology out of place. Well, the prefix is there for a reason. So modern science would equate to African science, would equate to ancient science. Squinting his eyes, you know you're lying bastard. and the semantic drift. Got all these clowns monitoring science. Well, brass echoing Reggie. Well, the prefix is there for a reason. You have to, yeah, because you echoing Reggie. You ain't shame. You ain't ashamed. You supposed to be this smart man. I mean, you know better, but you echoing Reggie. Now you got JJ. Look at your network. Ignorant stupid. Stuck on stupid. Stuck on stupid. Gotcha moment. Cedric, you mean to tell me you're going to leave a Christian philosopher identify science? Oh my God. And he thought he had a gotcha moment. When he realized, I said, yeah, he's a philosopher. Who else expect to do it? Crashing out. Talk about unity, and all of a sudden, small island people get engaged in incestuous relationship. Huh? What? You dumb. You dumb. Fellas like you ain't know I ain't grew up wrong your father. You grew up between the women, them, you frock, between the frock, them sucking your finger, hold on to frock. You don't know your daddy be. Because the only man who grew up around woman, cackling like that, will behave so. It's emotional. Check your blood pressure, bro. And the sick things you all just go through your mind as if telling me some weird nonsense gonna have an effect on me. What does being all you fellas in the head when are you think are you say some weird things which is indicative of your thought process? How you think. This is how you think. You come from the countryside. You used to trouble your cousin there, right? Walk barefoot and when are you playing with the goats them and trouble your cousin, right? You feel guilty now? St. Martin ain't none of that. No. I never walk barefoot and walk with no goat. I always had running water. How old you was when you leave Jamaica, sure you had no electricity where you still ain't on. You see, we can do these things, but they'll be derogatory for. But again, it is indicative of your mind work when you say some nonsense like that. And again, if everything is science, then nothing is science. Lighting a fire is science. High tech science. Science. Science, yo, Chef Gray. Science is science, yo. Absolutely. A rare natural philosopher, and it's said in a modern context, it still be scientific. Science is science, y'all. Like, why did all you get in this conversation? Debate? There is no debate again. Right? This conversation or this whole, what we have been presenting. It's not about respecting ancient cultures. It's not about recognizing contributions. We do that accurately. Look at my opening monologue. It is about maintaining conceptual clarity. But a natural philosopher, right, someone whose ego is his driving mechanism, right, needs the ability and the room to get to make shit up. So Ed Reggie comes up there and he needs to be able to give his black bull hypothesis. And I wrote a paper on the black bull, and I wrote a paper, and this pseudo-academic and pseudo-intellectual nonsense you come up here with. Well, but before you address me, you'll have to write a paper to the authors. Reggie, you cherry pick the sources and now trying to hide behind them? Bro, you are ridiculous. That's pseudo-academic intellectual behavior, bro. You use two authors, right? And then you cherry pick the data. You cherry pick their position. Why? We know we have the same mind. This retroactive fitting using words like proto-science and kind of science is looking at these people from a very negative perspective. It's comparing them. So what? Look at the philosophical framework under which they operated. Methodological naturalism, natural philosophy. These are all frameworks in which people operate, and these are holistic systems, Reggie. But you see, this conversation is far above anything y'all would conceptually be able to handle. Again, we were talking about methodological naturalism 4 years ago. We are far removed from these infantile conversations, so it's just punching bag time. Something I love to do, especially if you come up your way at me. I just take my time and beat you up every day like this. I'll just sit here and beat the hell out of you for fun. I enjoy being abusive to idiots. The position being critiqued suffers from category errors. The nonsense y'all saying. Category errors. Presentism. And the worst part is every time we introduce a new word to the lexicon, y'all somehow seem to think you can boom, 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 flip it around and do as if we are doing it. We are introducing these words to the lexicon because obviously we know what they mean. You cannot do that. Yes, well, to say methodological, natural, excludes God, but well, they still type gods and nomenclature, tongue in cheek versus system. Really, Reggie? Like, are you that infantile, bro? Are you that stupid? Really? Now, and we know none of them understand the scientific methodology. Barber, a dude smoking cigars, claiming to be whatever. He got a lot of time to be on YouTube. That's like significant. But anyway, sit down in the Discord with a bunch of men who, some of them tendencies that I wouldn't be associated with or be around. But I mean, a habitual liar as well. I mean, you expect the habitual liar to understand anything about scientific method? No. The barber? No. Stupies? Stuck on stupid? Scientific? No, he wants to philosophize. So he's a classic natural philosopher. Reggie, there are levels to this thing. Move, get out the way, and give you another opportunity to clip it up. Brass. Pictures. Ancient civilizations gave us knowledge. The modern world gave us science. Confusing the two doesn't elevate the past, it erases every breakthrough that made science possible. Y'all are discrediting history, trying to rewrite history, and looking absolutely, utterly ridiculous. But since y'all decided you're not responding anymore, we can just go now and recap and put things, in proper perspective so that later on the story doesn't live a life of its own. And as Cedric is not being accused of being a bully and abusing Reggie, when Reggie sticky neck out there, Reggie threw the first punch, he was too slow. And if you throw the first punch, don't mean I'm allowed to kill you. I don't have to hit you back. I don't have to fight with you. I'm allowed to just eliminate you, right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm getting you out of these YouTube streets. That's the end of this presentation. And if y'all didn't see it this time, I ain't doing it again. I'm going to drop the link again. If anyone want to get up here. Now, y'all heard my Reggie song, right? My Reggie song. Continue playing my Reggie song. We ain't finished playing it.
Cherry-picking data. That's a tragedy. Call yourself a scholar. Then it's a travesty. You know what's right. Keep it trying to make science black. Who's confuses science with technology? Reggie, is this your idea of everything? A flame for blackology. A black city plan. Let me not digress. Don't wanna get lost in that mess. Even the skin map. Reggie tried to contest that affected him emotionally.
Oh my God.
Came loaded with more pseudo-foolery.
Y'all got Iran level AI musicians. Y'all fucking with Iran right now.
Obviously, Reggie, you're not ready. Ideology got you looking stupid, silly. Squints his eyes.
People who might have time on my hand to count it.
If the look is ugly, you will never beat me. I got
That's my therapy, bro. Like, I go and sit write poetry, man. That's how I get my. Like the day he threw me off the panel, I sat and write that whole thing. I got bullets for these guys for days, bro. There's many ways I can take you out, bro. Do not mess with me. These disingenuous bastards out here completely
man, that's
confusing the
funny.
community. Yeah. now, victory lap. Victory lap. Reggie declared the ancients have no knowledge. The battle is over. It's a victory lap. I'm just dropping bombs on you this time to make sure you do not raise your ugly head no more. We don't want to see you anymore. Go ahead, Tree. You got the floor.
Oh man, you know what's funny? I've heard most of the arguments. I didn't hear the last thing Reggie did because I kind of what I'm kind of past it, but we got to keep revisiting it. The one argument none of them are doing, and it would shut us down immediately. All they got to do is go through whatever civilization you're talking about. All you got to do is go through and illustrate how what they did lines up with the scientific method. And if you had that one-to-one comparison, it would shut us down immediately. We wouldn't have a leg to stand on. We everything we said would be invalidated because it would be documented. Because that's one of the things with science is documentation. So this idea that they had science before we even had writing is stupid. Shows a lack of understanding of what science actually is. Because that is a vital. That's a communication is literally one of the last step is the last step. So if you're not taking what you found and spreading it out for other people of your ilk to review it and test it and falsify it and all that other good stuff, then it's not science. It's just not, because like you said, it's the methodology. It's a process. And Reggie, when he said science isn't a step by step, yes, it is. It's literally a step by step process. The scientific method is literally a step by step process. It tells you what to do from the beginning to the end. It even has if thens. Well, if this happens, then you do that. If this happens up, you got to go back 2 steps and restate your hypothesis. It's literally a
I
step by
was
step
just gonna
process.
I was just gonna ask you that. If your hypothesis isn't correct, do you get past that point?
No, you got to go back. You got to go back. You got to re-examine your data. You might even have to change your hypothesis. Like, let's be real. Ozempic started out as diabetes medication. But when they going through the trials, you know what they realize? Damn, everybody losing weight no matter what, whether they diabetes cured or not, everybody's losing weight. You know what? We might want to reevaluate this. Same thing with Viagra. Viagra was supposed to be heart medicine. They going through the trials. Damn, everybody reporting back that they Jones they can't get it, they can't get rid of it. You know what? We might want to reevaluate this thing. Like it's so many different examples of this phenomenon that what's the it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And they never make that argument because they can't. They can't go back in no past civilization. They can't go back and say step for step. They'll say, okay, I'll be up. They'll say they have one piece. They'll say, well, the Egyptians they were observing, that's science. That's only one part of it. They'll say the Persians or whatever the house was Arabians. They'll say the Arabians, they'll say, well, they experimented. That's only one piece of it. What these people are doing literally is showing their ignorance of what this is, what this science thing is.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And the conversation, I mean, they don't have a leg to stand on. And that's the crazy part. What are you guys talking about? We understand, but they do the semantic games. They do the prefix fallacy. Well, if you have modern in front of it for a reason, right? Because you have ancient. You're doing the semantic things. Come on, we know what we're talking about, right? There's a history there, and we understand these things. But why would you want forcing science onto ancient culture? That's presentism. That is a scientism 101. Why is that needed? What are you attempting to gain by by this revisionist narrative of what history is. What do you seem to gain by that? American Dream.
Ego.
Good afternoon, my brother. What you saying? Exactly. Exactly.
It's just
Peace,
ego.
peace,
It's
American
it's
Dream.
just to make us feel good. That's all it is. And what's crazy is our history is so great that it should automatically make us feel good. We don't gotta lie. We don't gotta exaggerate. But what they don't
No,
realize is by lying and exaggerating, that's why you can't attract the educated, knowledgeable people, and the conscious community is a rest haven for ignorant people that didn't want to go to school when they were kids. And that's really what this is. This is a bunch of old people trying to catch up on their lack of learning early in life. And I hate to say it, most of them are not even equipped to even deal with these topics really. We've said it before, we're dealing with a literacy problem. We're dealing with people who will read something and walk away with the exact opposite conclusion of the author. That's a common thing in this community. It's common. I've seen people do it. I've seen people read things like, see, they saying what we saying. No, they aren't. Like what? Like it's maddening to a certain to at a certain point because at the end of the day, we all black people and we all want to progress, but we can't progress holding on to we can't progress holding on to nonsense. We can't build nothing with it.
You're absolutely right. We're not gonna go anywhere with rhetoric. We're not gonna go anywhere with inaccuracies. This was a simple exercise of applying proper rhetoric, proper rigor, right, and examining the sequential steps. There are two documents that you need, just two documents: the history of science and the philosophy of science. It seems simple, but when you start to engage with the philosophy of science, you are going to go down rabbit holes. Now, if these gentlemen have done the necessary due diligence, right, and taken my advice, they would have been 2, 3 years removed from this conversation because the conversation we're having is so far ahead of anything they're having. They do not understand these frameworks.
And the wild part
Yeah.
is, it's not like this is some obscure shit. You can literally go to Merriam-Webster, just read the definition. In English, we have a thing called a dictionary. It's a list of words and their definitions and what the words mean. In a dictionary, they order sometimes in English, a word can have more than one definition based on context. We know that.
Mhm.
In the dictionary, they list the definitions with the most frequent one being one, the second one two, and so on and so on and so on. You go on Merriam-Webster, do this with me. Go right now and look at it. Merriam-Webster dictionary. The first, the first definition ends with the words using the scientific method. So, again, we don't have to say modern science.
No.
It's a modern word that was created to describe something specific that was created in the quote unquote scientific revolution. So
Yep.
we don't need the prefix. That's why that was the reason for putting proto in front of it to distinguish it from what's happening today. Whatever, and that's the thing, because at the end of the day, this is an argument about the definition of words. And I just want to add, you know what the last definition is? The last definition, and it says archaic means to know. But nobody uses it like that today. Nobody uses it like that today. And we know that. You know what I mean? Like y'all just learned the Latin word 2 months ago, and now y'all want to beat us over the head with it. Like people weren't aware of it. Again, not to toot my own horn, I realize that I got a level of education, even only having 1 year of college, that the average person don't have. I had
Right.
3 years of Latin, so I know what a derivative is. I know what a root word is. Just because something is rooted in a word does not mean that's what it really means. There is no supernatural attachments to the meaning of words. That's just not a reality. Somebody
No,
way back in the day said car is going to be car, and that's what we're going to call it.
done.
That's all it was. And then other people agreed with it. Because when someone says car, you know what they're talking about. That's all it is. That's all
Yeah,
it is. And
exactly.
we going through all of this. Just read the dictionary. The dictionary would have cut this out. If these people didn't have an agenda, the dictionary could have ended this a month ago. But we here.
Here we are. Thunder, what you got to say for yourself, Thunder? You come to apologize for being disingenuous and being completely fallacious in this conversation. Apologize to the people for the nonsense you were doing, Thunder, because it was some pure bullshit. Go ahead, Thunder. Apologize. You got the floor.
How you doing
Apologize.
now, Cedric?
Now, apologize first, Thunder. That's the first thing you need to do when you get in here. Apologize for all the nonsense you've been trying to do over here, moving the conversation in areas where it's not, and when being point out where you're fallacious, doubling down on the ignorance and the stupidity. I think you owe Source an apology, and I think you owe our audience an apology. The conversation start there. So you ready to apologize? I hope that's why you're here.
Okay. How you doing, Preem? You doing all right?
I'm good, bro.
All right. So I watched this entire presentation, and allowed me to. Okay, you know what, Cedric? I'll apologize. Right. I apologize. What you want me to apologize for?
If you don't know what you're apologizing for, then don't
No, I mean, you gave
For
me a
being a
directive.
troll. Apologize for that.
You gave me a directive, so I was trying to appease. So give it to me again, bro. Pause. What you say?
Huh?
What I need to apologize for again?
What?
All right.
What?
So when we talking about number one, let's start with the basics. We went through this the other day. I thought we did. Right there on your CedTalks, on your CedTalks logo, right there on the screen. A friend looks out for his friend. I saw this folly the other day, and I told I text him and said, "Hey man, y'all need to change that." So we have something that's just look at your screen. How do you spell pseudo, Preem?
Yeah, that's an old one. Couldn't get it off.
Hey Preem, how you spell pseudo?
No, don't worry with this one. Don't
Hey
worry with that.
Preem,
I ain't playing that game with you, bro.
You know what's
I ain't
more
playing
fun?
that game with you.
You know what's
Hey,
more
Preem,
fun? Let's talk about
pseudo?
Kevin Bacon. You know that I said Kevin Bacon, right?
Say it.
Spell
That
it
means I was talking about
SOODO.
Let's talk about
Hold on.
Footloose. Bring
Hold on,
those
say it.
Sunday shoes. Come on, Louis.
Hey Preem, how do you spell?
I said, hey, Thunder. A
Yeah.
typo is something else.
SOODA.
Right? You know what I did, Thunder? I actually confused Kevin Bacon with Francis Bacon. Now, let's do the Footloose tease thing. Footloose, get loose.
Hey Preem, how do you spell pseudo?
So you're doubling down on the fact that you're
SOODA.
moral.
Okay,
You're doubling down
Yeah.
on the fact that you need your moral.
I mean, my
Is
fault.
that the way you spell
SOODO. My bad. I misspelled. I got it wrong.
Don't worry about it, bro. You fine.
Look at his name. How that's the way you spell thunder? Is that the way you spell thunder? Wait, is that the way you spell thunder?
Yeah, that's why I spell
No. Thunder is spelled with ER. So if you can't spell your name right, if you can't spell thunder right,
you're saying
then
thunder?
I have no idea. I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
No, how do you spell thunder? Okay, ask me.
You can't spell properly. Like
how do you spell thunder?
Your name is spelled incorrectly, and you're up here to argue an AI prompt with a mistake. Now, instead of talking about an AI prompt with a mistake, you should rather focus on the fact that I said,
I knew he was trolling.
Get loose.
As soon as you let him up, that's why I start laughing.
Cedric.
Pick me up
Cedric,
to my knees.
Cedric, do you believe that I'm trying to spell thunder?
Good. So you insist on being a moron. I don't care what you believe or don't believe. So
All right,
you're
good.
not up here
So
to apologize.
let's get to
And
it. No
I'm
problem.
not right? I
Let's
would
get to
simply
this.
troll the hell out of you. Because you ain't no buddies, right? So you come up here and doubling down on wanting to be a moron. Right?
Hey,
you insisted
Cedric.
on trying to be a moron. Right?
Cedric.
When your name is spelled incorrectly.
Thunderboard. Garfield don't do enough lies.
The only thing I understand is thunder.
Hey, Cedric, go.
Right?
Hey,
and
Cedric,
so thunder is illustrated of a dude that walks around saying bubba. Like, yeah.
Hey,
Cedric, so you were up here being a moron and trying to be extra. And all you were doing was illustrating that you're a jackass. Now you come up here and want to double down on being a jackass, right? Now you want to
How am I being? I'm about to ask you a question.
Maybe he's trying to be lying though. Maybe he's trying to be down with Lion though in there. The Thundercats.
Where your name is spelled thunder. Like, how stupid can you actually be? Y'all are dumb, ignorant for real. Like,
Cedric,
moronic
do
in
you
your
believe that I'm trying to spell the word thunder? THUNDER?
It's irrelevant. It's spelled incorrectly. Done. That's it.
No, I'm not spelling thunder. No,
that's irrelevant though. Let's talk about your moronic behavior with regards to your whole diatribe.
No, let's talk about your presentation.
Let's go.
Why can't we talk about your presentation? All right, good. So the history of science, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the philosophy of science.
Mm-hmm.
When did science begin?
Scientific revolution.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Tell me.
All right, so science began during the scientific revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when it matured fully in its state that's recognizable. Yes.
We ain't arguing.
That's when it began. Yes. Anything before that wasn't science.
You really think you're gonna get to do
anything before the scientific method wasn't science?
Okay, good.
Yeah,
no problem. Simple. Now,
when took thunder? So when did the scientific revolution start? How long did it last? The development
according to y'all, according to y'all. Well, I want to say 1700. So let's do. I say 1700 CE.
When the 17th century or the 1700s? Which is
1700 CE, according to
that's incorrect. That's incorrect. So the 1600s, or the 17th century.
So you're saying it did not start in 1700.
You figure out the rest.
You're saying that it did not start.
So you're saying not so you're saying. Do not speak to me in these terms. If you say so you're saying one more time, I'm gonna kick you off the panel, because when you do that, you're attempting to strawman me. I'm not having it. You either understood what I said or need me to repeat.
It's called a clarifying question.
So don't again. Those are the parameters. Then you say, "What did you say? I didn't understand you. Can you repeat yourself?" Do not try to regurgitate what I'm saying. Don't ever do that. What I'm saying.
So if you do that one more time,
conversation. I'm not kidding. If you do it one more time, I'm gonna kick you out. I'm gonna teach people how to have a
He's a professional show derailer.
So
and you're not doing that.
Can you repeat what you said again?
No, I don't repeat what I said. Continue.
Now you just told me. All right, good. No problem. So so if you're saying that science started...
No, I'm not saying anything back. You see? That's how easy I do this, Thunder. That's how easy I do this, Thunder.
Oh,
you
man.
You get one more shot at it, Thunder.
I'm not talking.
You get one more shot. If you do it one more time, you're not talking to me. This is CedTalk. This is CedTalk. See, this is when you in the arena with someone who ain't about your bullshit, who don't care to go down that rabbit hole with you. I'm gonna stay right here. So you either have a mature conversation, because you don't have the intellect to derail a conversation. I'm happy. Never will, never can.
So are you here to
apologize? Are you here to apologize for the rabbit hole and the nonsense you were trying to do?
You
recognize that now that if Newton died before the official establishment of the scientific method, that he could not have been a scientist? Could you understand that?
You say he could. If
he died before, if he died before the formalization of the scientific method, right? How could he be a scientist? Would that make sense?
So you're saying that he wasn't.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying Kevin Bacon died way, way before the scientific method
Kevin
was
Bacon?
complete. So,
Who was
yeah,
Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Bacon. I'm gonna
Footloose.
keep saying Kevin Bacon now.
Dirty
Footloose.
Dancing.
Footloose.
Dirty
Dirty
Dancing.
Dancing. Yeah. Yeah.
All
So,
right.
so I'm giving you something that you can use with your level of intellect. So Francis Bacon, who established the framework,
You're
he
saying
died
Kevin Bacon or
long
Francis
before
Bacon?
the scientific method was established. Can he be a scientist? Francis Bacon, of course. But you know I don't
Francis
play
Bacon.
with you
Okay, now we're
because
talking
I'm
about
giving you
Francis.
something you want.
All right.
You can't
So
even
you're
spell your
asking
name
me.
properly. Anyway, so Francis Bacon. So
That's
Francis
not.
Bacon dead long before the scientific method was fully established. Is he a scientist? No, he's a natural philosopher. Why are we arguing this stupid thing? I'm not going down the weeds with you. So you're here to apologize or not?
I just asked you, what did you want me to apologize for?
I just told you.
We're doing what you're doing
So you're here
now.
to apologize or not? I just told you. So you're here to apologize or not?
Apologize for what?
What you doing now?
For
Show
being a
you
jackass, a moron, and attempting to derail the
Why? Because I
conversation. I was
disagree with
saying what I
you?
said. There's no
Oh,
Well, you
that's
ain't
the
made
new
one point
It's the
yet.
new pseudo killers where everybody got to agree with you, right?
No, it's
No,
not.
you haven't made one point yet. What's your point, bro?
I've been trying to ask, but Seb been sassing the whole conversation. I don't know why.
Just make
No,
your
because
point. Why
there's no
does
questions
your
to be
point
asked.
require a
You just
question?
need to acknowledge, since you watched my presentation yesterday, your job is to come up here and say, now I understand your point. They could not have been a scientist because they were instrumental, but the whole framework was established way after these.
Oh, you're saying that I got to agree. Again, that's the new
That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. I am the A side. There is no other conversation we're having. Simply your acquisition to what is true. Done. We don't have a conversation. There's only one thing that you came up here to do: apologize or leave, because we're not doing this conversation. Not here. I don't have the tolerance for stupidity. I simply don't. We ain't running down that rabbit hole. So either one or the other. It's up to you. Apologize, or you can exit safe less, because the 21 question thing that you think you're smart to do it does not work here, Thunder. No. I'm not even interested. So you simply apologize for being ignorant to the subject, coming up here trying to create narratives and move goalposts. You need to apologize for having a disingenuous conversation, right? Annoying the hell out of those who was trying to have a good faith conversation. Acknowledge that even though Newton was part of the Royal Society, that it took another 100+ years in that Royal Society after Newton was dead for the peer review process to be fully established. So now you owe this man an apology. That's all.
Okay, you mean okay? Hey, Sosa, I apologize, Sosa. Who else you want me to apologize
Thank
to?
you very much. Thank you very much. Now, if you have anything coherent to say, go ahead. But we ain't doing the back and forth because there's no 21 question.
All right. All right. So science started during the scientific revolution, according to Preem, right?
According to everybody.
Okay, good. No, it ain't according to everybody.
Yes, it is. Everybody with sense. Everybody who actually study, all the people that actually study, all of the people that actually study this topic, they agree with me.
Yeah. All right. All right.
They do.
Okay, good. No problem. When was the Bronze Age? Was there any science going on?
You don't need the scientific method to create bronze.
Was there
You do not need the scientific method to create bronze.
Was there any science going on during the Iron Age?
No, you don't need the scientific method to smelt iron. All you need is fire that's hot enough.
Is astrology a science?
No.
Astrology? No, it's not. It's pseudoscience.
Okay,
good. Astronomy fully developed is a science.
Is astronomy a science?
Yes, but they didn't do all they did was the observation part. That's all they did. So they observed the catalog. They didn't know what they was watching. They didn't know what the sun was made of. They didn't know what the stars were made of. They didn't know that.
Thunder. I'm gonna take you off mute right? You're gonna have the conversation with Preem. Don't cut him off. Have a back and forth. Don't keep insisting asking the same question over and over. That's not cool, bro. Go ahead,
Talking to
Preem.
me?
We're not talking to you, JJ.
Now you can go ahead, Preem.
Go ahead,
Now,
Preem.
JJ, I'm gonna give you the floor in a
muted me
sec.
so you can finish, Preem. So go ahead and finish.
Huh?
I
None of
don't
the
need to
stuff
vent.
that you named requires science. Astronomy, all the ancients did, all they did was document. Like, because that's where they paved the way for astronomy, because based off of a lot of their measurements, we're able to, in later days, we're able to determine we're we're able to establish the heliocentric model instead of the model where Earth is in the center of everything. So it was based off of their observations that we were able to draw that conclusion. So, but they were not doing astronomy; they were just observing the heavenly bodies. That was the extent of their endeavor.
Good. So you're saying they weren't. It said they were doing astronomy, but you're saying that they weren't, right?
No, I'm saying they were doing part of the process. No, because this is in the context of the scientific method. One of the first things I said was astronomy fully developed as a science. Just observing the stars, you doing astronomy, but that don't mean you doing science. I can go in my backyard tonight and look at the planets. And a matter of fact, I do that. I literally look up and I track and I see and I go online and I see what planets are visible and I try to find them with the naked eye in the sky. So, but I'm not deluding myself into thinking I'm doing science by just observing the stars.
Okay.
Thunder, I got a question for you.
Yes.
If you clearly understand that science is a modern invention, its early beginnings is the 1600 with the establishment of the framework. Its further development for 200 years and fully formed at the 1800s is when we start to talk about science. When you ask a question, was there science before this? Which part, like, there's a comprehension issue going on here. There's a
it
mental
definitely
block
is.
at this point.
It definitely a
Yes,
comprehension.
and I've seen that you simply don't. So you have a mental issue here.
Okay,
Science is a
mental, all right.
philosophical framework, right? Right? Science is a philosophical framework.
Yes, it is.
Prior to that philosophical framework being established, which is science, people
All right.
were under philosophical naturalism, and prior to that, mythological naturalism. None of the two prior frameworks were science, although you see people doing observations doesn't equate to science. Science is a framework. So the question you're
Modern
supposed to
Because
ask is, do you see that framework prior? And the answer would be no, right on the. So there's this conversation you're having is
Okay, good.
ignorance. Is your
Cedric,
ignorance on display and not able to elevate your thought process to understanding frameworks?
these ad hominems
You
have
know,
been
hunter
coming.
gatherers,
They've been going. You've been wide
do
open with
observations.
them.
Hunter gatherers do observations.
All right, let me
Right?
ask you a question.
That makes them. No,
Is there?
I'm doing the talking. Do not cut me off. So hunter gatherers do observations. They looked at the night sky. Are they astronomers? As a matter of fact, Anthony's doing here to deal with you. Anthony Bauman, Space Age African. You got the floor.
Is there a prehistoric science? There's such thing as prehistoric
Yes,
science?
yes. Hey, look, let me say something real quick. Yes, I proved that. I brought that out, that even hunter-gatherers had science. But if
Thank
they
you
don't want
very
to
much.
listen, all
you
they want
didn't
to do is
prove
troll.
that.
Thank you very
How
much.
did they have?
This
How did they have?
JJ
How did they
and
have
Thunder
science
agree.
when they couldn't write anything down?
Who told you that? Why they got to write it down to do science?
Part of the scientific method is communication. That's what we've been
method.
trying to say.
About
If they
modern
didn't
science,
communicate their
man.
findings to
So-
other people, they
so
didn't go through. They didn't get it
I'm not
reviewed.
going to
They were
argue
just
with you,
observing
brother.
the stars.
Listen, I'm not
About
going to
modern
argue with you.
science, and we
This is
talking
what
about
you do.
prehistoric
Hold on,
science.
let me address him, please. This is what you do. You put your presentation together and let me look it over. So you ain't man enough to put a presentation together. You sit up there and run your mouth. This is what all y'all do. CedTalk did a show the other day and they had one goddamn source. And y'all didn't say nothing.
JJ,
But y'all want to...
All things don't
JJ,
need sources.
JJ.
A
First of all,
conversation don't
You
need
didn't have no
sources.
sources.
JJ, first of all, you butt in. A pseudo killer is here. I gave Anthony the floor.
All right, but let me know when I can go.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, let me know.
Anthony, I mean, JJ think carpentry is science. Get him out of here.
No, we don't. Now let me address him.
JJ, wait. You're gonna get your turn. Anthony has the floor.
Because any of you niggas want to get in the ring, I got you.
Anthony has the floor. JJ, wait. Simple.
Hey, peace, everybody. Peace, everybody on the panel.
How you doing, Anthony?
Peace,
in the chat.
Good show the other night too. I saw it.
Now, what you say?
I said good show the other night too. I got a chance to check it out. Them pictures is unbelievable, bro.
Okay, so you get to cut in. Let the man speak, please.
Appreciate it. But to answer Thunder's question, there was no astronomy until the scientific revolution.
Oh boy. Okay, good. All right.
That was what they had in Latin, astrologia, which was basically what we know of as astronomy today and astrology. It was all mixed into one because they attributed the causal agent was God. You know what I'm saying? So they during the scientific revolution, it was separated into astronomy and astrology. Astronomy is the science. Astrology is the pseudoscience. But that split didn't happen until the scientific revolution. If that makes sense. That makes sense to you, bro?
Oh boy. All right. Prehistoric science.
No such thing.
Oh, you saying no such thing as prehistoric science? Okay, good.
Nope.
So we got astronomy starting during the
Thunder, you use a word, then you need to define it. What does prehistoric science mean? Prehistoric knowledge? Of course, humans always had rationality. There was a time of trial and error, and they understand which plants they could eat, where they can live.
You want the definition of prehistoric science?
That prehistoric science is ancient knowledge. Yes, we understand that, right? So let's use the word ancient knowledge.
You want the definition of prehistoric science?
We know what it means.
Why don't you just fill it out right now?
Definition. I'm asking you. You want me to do that? I can do it.
Give a definition.
Prehistoric science, or the development of knowledge before written records.
Development of knowledge.
Development of what? Development of what?
Knowledge.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Stay right there. So we know what we're talking about ancient knowledge.
These guys, man.
Go ahead. Ancient knowledge. Thank you.
Let me say something real quick, sir.
You're saying that prehistoric science was just knowledge?
Yeah, I guess they don't need knowledge for science, man. These dudes are idiots, man. I'm just gonna beat you up on the sideline. Any of you niggas see me on fucking Killer Priest, I'm gonna bust your goddamn head. I promise.
You remedial, JJ. Get out of here.
You're saying that prehistoric science, because it needs development of the development of knowledge.
You just read the definition, and we agree.
I haven't even started the definition. I had read about 4 words, and y'all cut me off.
That ancient knowledge, they're not having a scientific revolution. None of that is there. We understand that it's ancient knowledge gathering systems. Okay, good. We know what that is. We went down that corridor. We do not need your further elucidation or explanation. We went down this road. We understand what it is. So go ahead. We know you're talking about.
The reason why you keep stopping this is it's a reason for it. I don't know why, but I think it's gonna come out in the wash.
No, I clarify the point.
It'll come out
in real time, right? So we understand you're talking about ancient knowledge.
Or the development of knowledge before written records was rooted in survival, involving advancements in tool making, fire control, and understanding natural resources.
Yes.
Starting roughly 2.5 million years ago.
There you go.
Early hominids developed technologies like stone tools, later progressing to mining, agriculture, and animal domestication.
Thank you. Good.
This is what prehistoric science is.
We're not doing the readership, so we understand that. So there is nothing to do with the scientific method. This has nothing to do with the scientific method. We're not using the semantic trap. We're not doing the prefix nonsense, right? We're not doing that here. Absolutely not. We understand what you're talking about, and we appropriate the correct nomenclature in our modern understanding of ancient knowledge. So what they were practicing was pretty much a trial and error phase of development. They didn't even develop animism at this point yet, right? So we understand exactly what you're talking about. You don't need to do the readership. What we clearly understand that this has nothing to do with what we're talking about that took place from 1600 onwards, which was the scientific revolution and the establishment of the scientific method, right? So you're retrofitting the word, and this is a semantic nonsense that we know about. You're not
Yeah.
getting anywhere.
Since he introduced the reading thing, let's you know what I mean, let's get to the nitty-gritty. I'm on Merriam-Webster.com. Science, a noun. Knowledge or a system of knowledge
Ho,
covering
ho, ho,
general
ho, ho,
truths
ho,
or
ho,
no, shut up,
ho, ho. Knowledge.
shut up. Be quiet. Don't cut me off. Science, knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths or the operation of general laws, especially as obtained and tested through scientific method. That's the number one definition. Then that's one A.
Knowledge.
That's, come on, I'm not finished. That's 1A. 1B is such knowledge or such system of knowledge concerned with the physical world and its phenomenon, natural science. And C,
Knowledge.
bro, shut up, man. And C, a particular area of scientific study. The second definition is a department of systematic knowledge,
Knowledge.
as in the science of linguistics. That's the second most popular meaning. The third definition is a system or method reconciling practical ends with scientific laws. Cooking, an example they give is cooking is both a science and an art.
Whoa.
Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. The fourth one is science.
Hold on, yo. Let me just laugh.
The fourth definition. The
Let me just
fourth
laugh,
definition.
yo.
The fourth definition is science, Christian Science. The fifth definition is archaic, the state of knowing, knowledge as distinguished from ignorance or understanding. Now, the reason I'm reading all of those is because y'all are using the word science in a different way that we are using it. Thunder, you read the literal definition and it said, what was it? Prehistoric science or the accumulation of knowledge or the obtaining of knowledge. That's it. And what's the fifth? And what's the fifth most popular definition of science? Archaic. It's just the state of knowing, knowledge. Y'all are using the oldest definition of the word, and we are using the newest.
Hey, Preem. Hey, listen, my nigga. Hey, what's your cash out, bro?
Huh? I give
Give me your cash. I'm gonna send you $10 right now, nigga. I'm gonna send you $10.
For what?
Hey,
For
hold
what?
on.
For what?
Let me
For
pull
what?
up my
Why-
cash
not-
out.
not-
I'm finna
Please,
send you
please.
$10 right now.
Well, send it.
Hold on, I am. Watch.
For
You
what?
Like, damn, that
For
nigga,
what?
that
Because
one line.
because he
Watch.
didn't agree with you. He didn't agree with you, Thunder. He actually body slammed you.
Yo, I ain't even
So-
talking to you right now.
I
bro.
know, but I'm
Send
listening to
me.
the conversation.
Let me
I'm
send
listening.
some money to Preem.
Because y'all are using
Let
the
me
least
send some
used
money to Preem
definition
right
Go
quick,
ahead.
baby, yo.
of the word.
You can. I'm not telling you not to, Thunder. But what
Okay,
I'm
no, I
telling
gotta
you
get
is
his
that what he
cash out.
just
Hold on
read.
one
No,
second.
what we doing
Hold
is
on
we
one
not
second. Let me
talking.
get his cash
no,
out.
no,
Preem,
no,
what's your
we're
cash?
we're not talking to each other, yo. Now,
I
go ahead,
know.
give
I'm
out
trying to
your-
get Preem's
Okay, what's your
cash
cash
out.
at, Preem?
I don't even know, man.
All right, send it
Preem
to me, send it
100X.
to me.
That's right. Preem
You got
100X.
it?
My shit's
All right.
simple. Preem 100X. That's my cash app for whoever want to donate to the cause.
Yeah, you know what, yo? Hey, Thunder, you better not say what I think you're gonna say, yo. You better
Because
not,
he going
yo.
to say it's the
No,
definition said the
don't say it.
opposite of
Don't
what it
say
was
it. Don't say
saying.
it. Let him say what he think it mean, yo. And this is the crux of why we're in this situation right here, yo.
Yep.
Yep. It's gonna be your explanation that you're gonna give on why you sent that man $10, yo.
Exactly.
It's crazy shit ever, yo. And that's the problem, yo. Like, bro,
Hold on, man.
like I got
Hold
a
on.
whole understanding of what he read, and you
I
think
did
you
too.
won.
Hey, listen. I'm finna
Okay.
hold on.
All right, send that
Hold
bread
on. Let me
first.
send it. Yeah, let me
you
get
gotta
him.
pay
Yeah,
for
send it
this
because
stuff
I ain't
first,
get
yo.
it yet. Send that
I
bread
got
through.
you.
I need
It's
that.
coming right now, bro.
Yeah, he can get some lunch on Thunder Ignorance.
You get it?
Real
I'll give
pretty
you a lunch.
much.
Did
I'm
you
gonna
get
go
it
get me a
yet?
protein bar and a turmeric shot
You
tomorrow.
got it, Preem?
Nope, I don't. Preem 100X.
I just sent it, bro. You got it.
All right, that's what's up.
No, do you have it?
No, somebody else got it.
Oh yeah, I do. Yup, I do. He
Okay,
said.
good.
Now, hold on. Now, hold on.
Now why?
Be quiet.
Now
Both
why?
Be quiet.
That's my
Want to
first. That's my
explain why you
first
said that.
donation. I'm gonna start giving
Hey,
out my
listen.
Cash App now.
Hey, listen. Hey, fella. Hey, thank y'all for this. Said you did a great show. And I love you, man. Sabio, my nigga. Anthony Bowman, nice to meet you, bro. I gotta log out for now. I think.
No,
Bro.
Hey,
don't tap out.
Bro, don't do that, bro.
Don't tap out.
Don't do that, bro.
You're right. I ain't gonna do that.
Explain
tap
to us
out.
why you sent that.
I ain't gonna do
money.
that. All right.
We want to hear your explanation. We all quiet. Go ahead.
All right. No
Don't
problem.
hold on. Don't nobody cut Thunder off. Let him get the
Okay, good.
explanation why he did it.
So,
Go ahead, bro.
before you join, Cedric antagonized me, right? Like he's been doing the whole show. But he wanted me to read the definition of prehistoric science.
Yes, sir.
And when I read it, it starts out prehistoric science or the development of knowledge. And he told me to stop. He said, stop right there. Stop right there.
Yeah.
Right? And then him and Preem bust out laughing.
Right.
Because prehistoric science was the development of knowledge. When our brother Preem just read what science was, and I think he read 6 definitions.
Yeah.
I want to say out of those 6, between
No. How does
3?
the dictionary work? How does the dictionary work, though? We have to comprehend how dictionaries work. How do they work, Thunder?
What do you mean? How they work?
What's the first definition in the dictionary?
You want him to read it?
No, I want you to understand how dictionaries are actually organized. It's definitely germane to this conversation.
I don't want to get derailed from.
No, you're not going to
get
get derailed. I'm saying I don't want to do it.
That's the point.
No, that is the point. If you don't understand how a dictionary is organized, right?
I'm not even talking about the organ. I'm talking about the words he said out of his mouth.
So basically, you're just gonna keep talking.
I mean, you told me
run a stop sign.
You told me everybody don't. You said nobody cut him off, and you were the one that cut me off.
No, but I'm saying, no, I didn't cut you off. I'm saying you're reading definitions, right? So go ahead and read them.
I don't have the definition. He had the definition.
I got him. The first, I'll do it again.
Okay,
go ahead. The first definition says knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths. See, he's not even gonna let me. He's gonna step on me.
Go ahead.
It said the first one, the most important, the most used definition.
Yes.
Knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths or the operation of general laws, especially as obtained and tested through the scientific method.
Yeah.
That's the number one definition.
Yes.
It incorporates the scientific method
Yes.
into the definition, and that means that the most usage of science is modern is implied. That was my point for reading the definitions, because the first definition has the scientific method in it. Now I'm gonna mute up. I said what I said, and now I'm gonna mute my mic.
What's the second one? Don't do that, Preem.
We can't. No, don't skip over what's the first one.
Okay,
that's
you
my
read
point.
the first one. We got the first one, right?
Okay, that's the most used one, right?
Okay, no problem.
Hold up, no.
One?
Since you want to keep me talking, the first one is the most used one, right?
What's the second one?
Hold up, no. Answer my question if you want me to keep. Answer my question. The first one is the most used one, right?
Yeah, that's the most used one.
The first one is the most used, and that's how we're using it. Y'all are using it different from what we're using it.
Yes.
That's
What's the second one?
the foundation of this argument.
Okay.
We're using we're using the main definition. Y'all using the old archaic definition.
Okay, good. Thank you, Preem. What's the second one?
I ain't reading it no more. I made my point. you got a computer. Cause you want to skip over the main point. No, we're not. We not getting to the main point. We not getting to no other points until you acknowledge the first one.
All I can say
No.
is I got some wild homeboys. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all right now.
Oh,
It's
shit.
wild out.
Yeah, nigga.
Somebody
and never say
Acknowledge that
anything to
first
win
one.
an
hold
argument.
on.
Acknowledge
Hold
that
on.
first one.
And
Acknowledge that
somebody,
Hey
first
man,
point, and
I
I'll
might have to send this
continue.
nigga another 10,
hold
dog.
on,
Send
hold
it.
on. And
Go ahead,
somebody,
Unc.
somebody in this conversation is definitely ignorant.
Go ahead.
Somebody. So I'm gonna go back again.
Yeah.
Can somebody put it in ChatGPT? How is definitions in the dictionary organized? We need to know. That is important here.
Okay.
That is germane to the
How
conversation.
are definitions
Definitions organized in the dictionary.
organized
Organized
in a dictionary?
dictionary.
All
Yeah.
right.
We don't know. We have no idea.
Definitions in a dictionary are typically organized by alphabetical order of the head word, then by usage frequency. Or
Say.
Mm.
Hold on. No.
Mm.
Come on. Don't say. Keep going.
or historically
Mm.
oldest meaning first.
Damn. Okay. So now say. So does that mean that the definition that's given first is the definition?
Oh boy, yeah.
You get it? Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. Go ahead.
All right. So let me
Because
go.
we all learning. Y'all just want to figure this out real quick.
No problem. So you saying the rest of them ain't the definition though?
No, I'm saying they just the ones that you can start using
I can't
colloquially
even
and how
look
you
that
can play
up
around with it.
in good faith.
You can't look at them in good faith.
Okay.
Okay, I'm glad.
In good faith, I can't do that. That ain't
why
that
not?
ain't fair to you.
I mean, but why not? It's important.
That's
It's
not
germane
fair
to the
to you, man.
conversation. Okay, so then we do know that what Preem said is correct, and what I'm telling you is that first definition is the definition. Then after that, it's kind of showing you how things are used colloquially, and so like cooking is science and all that. You know the game you could actually play.
The science of
to
linguistics.
let me finish.
Mhm.
But to actually checkmate this argument, the key is, and that first episode that I will play today. And that first episode, I give you the definition that I'm talking about and working with.
You
So
all
from
are
that point
talking
on,
fast.
so let me.
This
I
man
just want
reading
to
the
finish.
definition.
I just want to finish. Let me finish. I'm not going to be long-winded. I don't want to yell and holler.
Okay.
I'm saying, the episode started off with me. Okay, I talked about scientific thinking all the way to modern times, right? And I gave the history of science. Okay, so what definition did I use? Think about that, yo. I started backwards in time. All right, and I ended up with quote unquote matured science. Simple as that, bro. Like that's kind of my best presentation I did since I've been on YouTube. I went and listened to it. I was like, damn, I hit all points. I wasn't all over the place. I was very concise and very to the point and very exact. Cracked a couple jokes in between, but my shit was very clear, yo, because I enjoyed it. I normally don't. Okay, so we have not changed our stance. The stance is the same way. You can say chimpanzees had science. You can say Homo erectus had science. You can use all that on that last definition. But for that first definition, you can only use that in the modern times.
Can you
And it
finish
doesn't say
reading the
modern
definition,
science.
please?
Nope,
Did-
because
did
you're
you hear
not
what I
bearing
said?
witness to the truth.
Yeah, did you hear what I said?
Preem.
Did you hear what I
Listen
said?
to Thunder and read the rest of those
Preem,
definitions.
please read the rest of the.
No,
I mean, you have
because
to.
we
yet.
no,
You don't
because
have
we
to
can't
yet.
because this is the point.
So Preem,
This
so
is
did
the
my phone,
point.
did my phone die? Why was I cut off before I finished my statement complete? Was it a reason behind that? Was it the pseudo reason? Was it our
You
miscommunication?
said you
Was
wasn't gonna be
retarded
long
hearing me
with it,
talk?
and he
But I'm
was in the
saying,
middle of reading. He was in the middle of reading a definition before you cut him
No, it
off.
wasn't. There's only one way to settle this. If I started off with that archaic definition and saying that's what we're talking about, then y'all got me. Then everybody got science, from the bees to the apples in the trees, and everybody got science. And I think that's what you want to say. So based off what you're saying, you're right. Everybody had science. We never was talking about that at all. Never. But
All
go
right.
ahead.
And you know
Can
what?
you finish reading this
And you know what?
definition, Preem?
No, Thunder. You know
Nope,
what?
we gotta
Just to
stay
give you-
here. We gotta stay here because this is the
Hold
point.
up. Preem, let me say this because this is what really upsetting about this conversation with Thunder.
Yeah.
Through all the arguing about religion and the ancients having religion, now he want to make these religious people in antiquity have science because they had knowledge. This is what's so upsetting and makes this conversation not real for Thunder. This is about entertainment and just trying to force an argument.
No, that's
But
not
he is
true.
one of the
Yeah, that is.
hold on. I've been around Thunder just as long as you, and we know Thunder
That
knows the
wasn't me.
separation.
That wasn't me. No, he
Oh,
might not.
okay. But
Hey,
he
hey, just,
knows because
hey, but you do know.
he's
You do, but you do
because he's
know.
argued with us
I know,
about the
but we're not.
religious people
No,
and how religious they
he
were.
think we. No, I don't
Thunder
want to get
don't
on the religion thing.
understand, y'all.
No, I think he
And
think. But Thunder is
honestly,
saying.
if
Then
you use the archaic
hold on. Thunder
definition of
saying.
science,
Thunder
I will
saying.
agree with you.
Oh,
I will
fuck
say
this shit,
Homo
man. Did my
erectus
shit get
has
cut off,
science.
yo?
But you know what I
Whoa,
will
whoa,
also
whoa,
say
whoa,
to
whoa.
that?
One minute,
I
Cream,
will
one
chill
say
minute,
out,
one
monkeys
minute.
Cream.
have science
Cream.
because they have the ability to take a stick and stick it in a termite mound to get food.
How
I
are
will
you gonna
say
interrupt
elephants
everybody,
have
Cream?
science because they follow the
He must
matriarch
can't
around,
hear.
and
He
the
probably just
matriarch has
can't
been
hear, yo.
alive so long that she know where all the
Right,
No,
sweet
he
he
grass,
can't
can't.
hear,
she know
yo.
where all the water sources at. When one water source dry up, she know where to go to get the next one. And we could go down through the whole animal kingdom. So the animal kingdom got science too by y'all definition.
Hey,
Cream.
Preem.
You hear me?
My finishing point was if Thunder's saying,
Oh
if the
shit!
people that we're talking to are
I think I'm
strictly
I think I'm
saying,
fucked up.
yeah, you
Yeah, he
fucked
can't
up.
hear.
You
Go
can't
ahead.
hear.
Go ahead. Go
I
I'm
ahead.
got it
saying
all
Go,
back
so.
up.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to make a concession. I'm going to
go
make a
ahead.
concession.
Yeah, okay,
And
you on
my
the speed. All
concession,
right.
and
Let's
my
go.
concession is, if everybody's just saying that the ancient people had knowledge, okay, you're right. Then they had science.
Right.
And I'm going to leave it right there. And I'm not talking to y'all dumbass niggas no
Okay,
more,
thank you.
because y'all know that ain't what
Fact.
I was talking
Can
about.
you
So I'm
finish
out of it.
reading
Fact.
the definitions, Preem, please?
No.
And then let me in after you finish reading.
Joel, can
Yeah.
he please? Can Preem? I've been chilling here. This is
No, I just
this
asked you to get in after you
filibustering
finish.
The,
Go ahead, Chris.
the
this is
definitions
classic.
aren't helping you.
This
And the
filibustering
definitions didn't
y'all
help.
doing is classic.
The definition didn't help you,
I just
Thunder.
want him
It
to
actually
finish
worked
reading the
against you.
definition. That's all.
Do you know the definitions actually worked against you because it shows the
Okay,
transition?
no problem. Can he finish reading it though?
Are you that slow,
Thunder,
or
just
do
a
you just want
second.
to argue?
Oh,
Joel's
now we
got the
got
floor.
David finna put
Joel,
something on the
make
screen.
your point.
Man, I wanted
Joel,
him to
make your
finish
point.
reading the
Go ahead.
definition because it goes along with what I was getting ready to do. What I was going to do, man. Wait a minute. Hold on. Somebody go ahead and go. I'm gonna get the definition. I'm gonna read it because
Cream is back.
I think I know where Thunder having trouble at. Okay, here we go. I got
Cream
it.
is back.
Can you see my screen?
Nigga, we all know
Yeah,
where he
his
having
screen's up.
trouble at, yo. We all know where he having trouble at. He
We
don't
ain't
know
having
the fuck.
trouble at home.
The fucking don't know what a dictionary is and how to use
I
one.
know
That's
that's
what the
why I'm
trouble
ready to read it
is.
to him. That's why I'm ready to read it to him.
No, I said not knowing what the hell a dictionary is and how words are organized in it. That's
I
the
know.
issue. Because if he knew it, then he would just say, "Oh my God, I just died." He would.
It's more technical than that. It's more technical.
Nigga, if you can't read a dictionary,
He can read a dictionary.
he cannot
Y'all see my
read it and
screen?
understand
Y'all
it.
see my screen?
Joe. All right, now we
I'm
get.
gonna read the
I got
definition
2
first.
degrees working on the third one. I can read it. So, but I'm
No,
not
you
going to do
don't.
that. All I want
Cap.
is the definitions.
I'm
Cap.
getting ready to read it.
Cap.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Cap.
Can you share my screen, Cedric?
What's cap? I don't.
Yeah,
You
screen
don't have
sharing.
2 degrees?
My screen sharing. Okay, Stunning,
Yeah.
you see the definition.
Yep,
The
that's cap.
systematic study
Okay, no
of the
problem.
structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation.
No, that's not what he read.
Oh, Lord,
That's not
that's
what
the
he read.
definition.
That's
Thunder.
not what he
Can
read,
you
Joe.
see my screen?
Joe.
Y'all can't see my screen?
Yeah, your screen's
Oh,
up.
okay. All right. Why he jumpy like that then? All right. The systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation, experimentation, and the testing of theories against evidence obtained. That's how we're using it now. All right, so look. The next thing it says, a particular area of science. You can talk about like veterinary and agriculture. Fine. A systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular subject, the science of criminology. Number two, knowledge of any kind. Like his rare science and its practical skill. That is where thunder is. Now, let's go to a source. All right. This source right here, y'all can still see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Natural philosophy or science in pre-modern epistemic regimens. The case of the astrology of Albert the Great, Galileo Galilei. All right. So now, this author, Scott Hendricks, this is what I wanted to get to. This is why I was saying this might be what he's missing. So this author says this because he was dealing with the same thing, the use of the word science when talking about astrology, and so he gets into this. He says science is a term frequently employed with little regard for historical context. Thunder. What does that mean? Science.
Hey, is Preem still on the panel?
Science.
I'm here.
Oh,
Hey,
he
Preem,
don't
can
want
you
to
finish
answer
reading
that?
the definition you was reading?
Nope.
He does not care,
All right.
bro. Thunder,
Oh, he
Okay,
don't
good.
care
Nope.
to understand.
So I
All
think
right,
that
trying to
says
tell you,
enough.
bro.
now,
Because we can't get
I think
past.
that
Because
says all we need
honestly,
to.
can I say something?
I think that says all
What
we
Thunder?
need to
Yeah, that
know.
No,
says all
because
we need to
Thunder,
know.
what
We
you
don't need to
doing
say
is
no more.
you making a bad faith argument, Thunder.
I
You not
know.
trying to
Yeah,
get
now it's a
you
bad
just
faith.
want to
Yeah.
argue, bro. I
Yeah.
said what I said, and I read
I
it
know
for the
you did. I
for
just
a
want you to
reason.
repeat it. If
The
you said
most
it once, you should be able to say
listen,
it twice, right?
listen. The definition that we're using is the main definition. The definition that y'all are using is the archaic definition, and that's the reason for this argument. If y'all
No,
saying
that's not the reason
if
for
hold
this
on, no, let me
argument.
finish. Let me finish. Because that's exactly what it is. Because us, the people that's on the side that science is modern science, we're using the word in its most used sense. Y'all are using the word in another sense that we're not using. So while we're using the same words, we're talking about two completely different things. And that's why we're never going to come to agreement, because y'all are stuck on y'all gotta have the ancients, they had science. If science means knowledge,
You
they
got
had it,
Preem,
but
you got
so do
Preem, you
but
gotta
so do
stop. Preem, you
animals.
gotta stop right there. You gotta let no Christian come in, because then your part comes in, no Christian, on what you're saying.
Right.
Not only does he not understand the definition and how to use it and how dictionaries are organized, then when it actually comes to the word science, go ahead, bro. Make your point.
All right. Now, they're taking a turn with little regard for historical context.
Mhm.
So, what is that saying? I wanted Thunder to answer. He don't want to do it.
No, please don't bring him into. You gotta
Okay,
learn
I
not to
say
bring
my
him
bad.
into the conversation.
Can't Thunder going
The
derail.
historical
You're gonna derail.
context of the word. When we're reading this word, I've read the definition. When we say science, just like you said, Preem, we are taking into account that this thing took a path of development and then came to maturity of what we're using right now. That's how the word is used. When you don't use it that way and you try to juxtapose that same definition onto the Egyptians or the Authropithecus, Authropithecus, or the Neanderthals, they had science because they came up with fire. You have little regard for historical context.
And you have lost your ever loving mind.
And you've lost your ever loving mind. Okay, I'm done.
Hey, can I say one thing real quick? Hey, Thunder, are you straight
Hey, man.
on the astrology and astronomy? Are you straight on that? Because if not,
Gotta figure this out.
there's a nice source right there for you.
Tell me what you mean. Am I straight on astrology?
Are
and
you
astronomy? What did that
with
mean?
the explanation I gave you on that? Are you? Because I noticed you went somewhere else when I told you about that. But here's the article there on the screen. You can hit that
Anthony,
link.
are you under the impression that I don't know where astronomy and astrology is?
Well, you asked the question like you don't. So, I mean, if you do, are you here to help teach? Or are you here on another agenda? I mean, what is it?
No,
Because you asked
I
the
just
question.
I just asked you a question. That's it.
So, I mean, what is this? What you trying to do?
I asked you,
bro?
was astronomy science?
Okay, there's the link. Check it out.
That's a question. Is astronomy science?
There's the link. Check it out.
Okay.
If you're not straight on it, I just want to make sure you good right there.
I know. I just want to make sure I gave you the opportunity to answer, and this is what you chose to do.
Are you straight on it?
I'm straight on what astronomy is and when it started. I'm talking about you.
All right.
Okay.
No, it's not. You cap. That's cap.
What's cap?
That's cap. With your 3
what's
degrees
funny?
is all cap. It's cap.
I agree with you. That's
cap.
Full cap.
Cap.
Full cap.
What's cap?
All capital letters.
Because if you understood what astronomy was, you would be on the side of the information we present and say, yeah, y'all right. I got it.
Let's go.
That. That's it, bro.
Let's go.
See that right
Body
there?
slamming.
That right there will show you. If you understand the difference between astronomy and astrology, what proto-astronomy is and what is not, and when that came to fruition, then you would understand, bro. You wouldn't even. You'd be like, yeah, I got it. See, we got different houses in this show. We got people who dealing with astronomy with telescopes. We got people who dealing with quote unquote the history of science, right? Different terms. We doing all of. We're not just coming one way. I understand the house of wisdom and how people misuse it, right? Because I did the presentation in episode 1 when this all started. I handled all that, bro. So at this point, yo, it's disingenuous that you would deny what a damn dictionary is. And then the wild part is you would go to the very last definition and apply that as if that is the main definition. And you act like that ain't what's happening. And you make the man, you did it so much so that you spent money on being wild and wrong. I've never seen nothing like it.
Hey, what's the oldest natural science?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably, I don't know.
Okay.
The oldest natural science.
Oldest natural science.
See,
I don't know. You tell us. I don't know. Bro.
It'll be observation. It'll probably be observation, observing the world.
All right.
Really? So that's the science observing the world? So now that's the science observing the world.
No, in his mind, observation.
Did the Babylonians have Did the Babylonians have astronomical records?
Yes, they did. Here's that word astronomical. We keep going.
Okay.
Astronomical does not equal astronomy.
No. Read the article. Go read the source. The answer is in the source.
I know, but
astronomical don't mean astrology. I mean astronomy.
You gotta talk now, yo. You gotta get it out, and you don't gotta. Yeah, man, you gotta tell our audience what you mean. They listening. Okay, we ain't just talking. We ain't even talking to Thunder. Thunder lost his mind. We just talking through Thunder. He's like pushing the show. Dog. He's pushing the show. You get it?
It's like I said when I came on.
Mm-hmm. So the Copernicus.
No, you cannot. No, bro. Why you cut that man off?
What you mean?
Astronomy is a product of the scientific revolution. That's what astronomy is. Everybody before that was practicing astrology. That's not a science. That's a pseudoscience. Because everything they saw, they attributed to something supernatural all the way up until the scientific revolution. That's including Galileo. All of them were great at astrology, dog. That was their thing. But it was the scientific revolution that pulled astronomy out of astrology. That's just the way it went. And that source backs that up. I didn't make up the information. I just read it and comprehend it.
And Anthony Bowman, what's disingenuous about this conversation is he's talking to a person who is actually into space, into studying these things, into the sciences, and he's questioning you as if you don't know the separation between astrology and astronomy. So that, as Ankh said, he's playing games up here. He's capping, trying to make spiritual, natural philosophers, scientists. Let's call them what they were. They saw the world and they applied the ideas of their mind to the physics, to the things that happened. So if a flood happened, there was no natural explanation for it. It was the gods caused the flood to happen. Simple as that. Let's stop saying that scientific, y'all. Quit playing this game just
So
to
you
have an
saying that
argument.
Copernicus was practicing astrology? That what you saying?
Yes.
Kepler,
Okay.
Galileo,
Galileo was
unfortunately,
practicing astrology.
before,
That what you saying?
all of those before the scientific revolution.
So who was the first one practicing astronomy? According to
You
Anthony
tell
Bolton?
me. You tell me.
Okay, I need to tell you what you
Yeah.
saying?
yes.
I want to know what you know. You doing all the interrogating. That's crazy. How you come over here and interrogate? No, you tell me. Let me see
Hey,
if
Thunder,
you right.
hey,
You
Thunder.
made the claim. Do you
Hey,
know
Thunder.
what pro and con mean?
He didn't make you made a claim. He didn't make a claim.
I didn't make no damn
Yes.
claim. He made the claim that astronomy, there was no astronomy before the scientific. He made the claim, not me.
I gave you the source that says that.
Okay, good. When did that
Go
source
read
say
the
the
source.
first astronomer appeared on Earth?
You tell me.
That's you
Because
know
see,
what?
that's a crazy question. There ain't no first astronomer.
It ain't
Yes,
a first.
if
It
you're
ain't no
making a claim
one.
like that, that means you're
Science
supposed
doesn't
to know
deal
that.
in one.
Yeah, you know,
You
you need
feel
to
me?
tell me that.
So
Since you're making that claim,
answer
you
the
need to
you
tell me.
okay, Thunder. Who was the first astronomer? Now I asked you the question.
Yeah, go ahead, tell us.
Oh,
Educate
that's
us.
his name?
You said the first astronomers? I would say the first astronomer was the Babylonians.
No. Tell me who was the first astronomer.
The
Don't say
Babylonians.
a Babylonian. Tell me who he is.
The
Oh,
Babylonians.
who?
See, y'all, this the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? This is the foolishness.
No. How would that?
I asked you a
foolish?
question, Thunder. Who is the first astronomer?
I just told you.
No, you
No, you
didn't.
didn't.
You told me a Babylonian.
Who's the
That's not a
Babylonian? What's that?
who is the Babylonian?
Okay,
Who?
good.
When? What's his birthday?
Enheduena. Enheduena. Enheduanna. Often recognized as the first named astronomer and a poet, she tracked the moon in Mesopotamia. This was 2000 BCE. The first named astronomer.
Let's start there. No, we heard you. You don't got to do it. You don't
Stop
got to
right
do
there.
it.
Stop right
Let's
there.
walk
Stop
our
right
way
there.
till
Stop.
we find. Hold on, whoa, hold on. So where you getting this from? The Chat GPT, right? Or the Google GPT? What you doing?
I can't answer you because said keep muting my mic, man. So
He didn't mute your mic.
Somebody
He just
muted
said,
it.
no, sometimes the thing do it by itself. So, all right, where you getting it from? Because we're going to prompt it.
You gonna prompt what?
I'm saying, is that grunt, whatever you call the shit on Google?
No, that's Wikipedia. That's just regular Wikipedia. Google.
No, man, Google is not Wikipedia.
Google will send you to a Wikipedia article.
Okay, yo, I thought you was on the whatchamacallit, yo. That's not astronomy, yo.
So you saying that it's not?
I'm trying to. I just want to.
said was wrong.
Can I make a point?
Yeah,
Based off what you read, you're not wrong. So I just want to know at this point, are you going to accept that the reason they use those words for convenience, right? So you can just basically follow the subject matter. They're not using to say they actually had scientific astronomy, bro. So I'm asking you, do you think I can prove or disprove that? That's all I'm asking right now, because that's what's happening. And that man, come on, man. I'm just trying to have a conversation, bro. I ain't trying to do that. Seriously, yo. I'm saying, will you accept that or not? Just say no, So then we need to have a class on why they name things that ain't actually that. And that's fine for me. It's part of our learning process.
Questions, and then when I get ready to answer, you tell me to stop.
Because you're going on something else. You're not staying with what you're changing the thought. I don't need you to change the thought right now. I need you to stay right there. You challenge me on being able to, 1, prove the chimpanzees are in the Stone Age, 3, the chimpanzees self-medicated and put dressings on wounds, and 3, that they use the word science for convenience. They don't mean what you think it means. So please challenge me right there. Yo, that's what I'm asking. Don't ask another question about
I don't want to challenge you on that.
You have to.
This is my challenge to you.
You have to.
My challenge to you is, don't tell me what I have to do. My challenge to you.
So then we're gonna keep arguing. Do you get that? Do you understand that point?
My challenge to you is
keep pulling up things and say that.
Hold on, can you listen?
Don't have astronomy, bro.
Can you listen? All right. My challenge to you is this, and only this. Have some sort of discipline to accept the fact that all of these fields have a early stage, aka ancient, and they have a modern stage. But that does not mean that the ancient was not that said thing. That's
Okay,
ridiculous for y'all to keep
the
telling me.
ignorance is over. My patience with this nonsense is done. I wasn't letting it go there. So I let it go for a little bit. And Thunder, that's it. This is not. This is CedTalk. So at a certain point, if you insist on being ignorant, and being a moron, and being an idiot, there's nothing more for us to talk about.
Why do you
You
keep
have
calling me names,
demonstrated
Sid?
what I
I ain't
was
never
saying
called
is
you a name.
actually true, and I appreciate you coming on here and doing exactly what you did, putting your utter ignorance on display. It gave us an opportunity to illustrate your stupidity. Right? Thank you very much, Thunder. And with that, you're back. You're out of here. Thank you. Bye bye. I can't. I refuse. I can't do it.
Damn, damn, Chad.
That's exactly what I've been accusing him of this whole presentation of being exactly that. And I allowed him just enough opportunity to display in real time that he's a moron, that he's an idiot, that he's a buffoon, right? That he's
Hey,
disingenuous, right? And just how
hey,
stupid.
Cedric.
I don't know who
Hey,
put a battery in this clown's back and send him up here.
hey, Cedric.
Sorry.
You want to hear something funny?
Go ahead.
I was watching The Wire, right? And they was talking about. I'm gonna give you some names, just regular names. They were talking about like Lumpy, right? And every Friday, right, Lumpy would wait around at the dice game. All the fellas in the hood be in the dice game. You know what I'm saying? They be shooting, and there's a certain point in the night when Lumpy snatch the money and run, yo. We chase him down, we beat him down, but we don't kill him. One time we had a dice game and Lumpy there, and another guy, when Lumpy snatched the money and ran, somebody shot and killed Lumpy. We was like, wait a minute, man. He do it every Friday, bro. We know he gonna snatch it. It's part of what we do as part of the dice game, but you can't kill him. That's what Thunder. He like Lumpy. He gonna come in there,
He's
you make an
stupid.
example
He's
out of him
stupid.
every single solitary time, but you can't kill him.
Yeah.
He's stupid. You just gotta take his
He's
lump.
the village
No, you
jester,
see,
bro. You can't kill
I,
him.
I, I come from South Park, and
You
he's
can't
the
get
character
upset.
that we kill every episode. South Park, you got that one character that you
He
kill
got
every
South
episode that keeps
Oh
Park.
coming.
man,
He
they
got
killed
South
Kitty.
You
Park.
crazy,
They
yo.
killed
Like,
Kitty.
you
You
can't
still,
kill him.
you silly, Chad.
He got
Yeah,
South Park. He said, I got
yeah,
South Park moves. Well, there you
yeah. He's
have
a
it
South
now.
Hey,
Park
can
dude.
let me
We
read.
kill him every day.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
like
Let's
see, let
find
me
out.
read
He
what I
killed
got
him.
on the screen. See,
Killed him.
Chad, crazy.
Said
yeah,
crazy. He's like, he do South Park when you died there.
yeah.
They
I
killed
don't agree to
Kitty.
those rules. I don't agree to those rules. Just for
Yeah,
nature.
he's South Park. Next week he'll come back again, and we kill him again. Like, yeah,
you gonna
South
shoot him
Park. Like
again?
he'll be back.
I think he just
Cartoons,
wounded him.
they don't really die.
You say
This is
what?
cartoon. They don't really
He
die.
just wounded him. He didn't kill him. He just wounded him. He gonna let him come back next week.
Yeah, look. He's Kenny. We kill
Oh
Kenny
man,
every
y'all
episode.
crazy as shit, man.
Kenny
Y'all
get killed
niggas
every
gone.
episode, man. There's
He
nothing
But
get
more
look,
killed
Thunder,
to
every
man.
episode.
but you know what? Thunder is a good
You kicked
case
him off
to
the
use.
panel though?
Nah.
You ain't kicked
Look,
him off the
Thunder
panel,
is a
did you?
good case to use to show where
He
the
is. Where
misunderstanding
everybody
is
at?
coming in.
Of course. So we know what. Do y'all know what this misunderstanding is?
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Where? So how we assessing this?
So
Yeah, they
for
don't.
Everybody assess it. Go ahead.
all right,
That's
so for
assessment.
me, for me, what's happening is the
Mhm.
word science and the way it's being used today is saying that they are like, so in other words, for the whole astronomy thing, they looking at principles of physics and chemistry, evolution, the behavior of the objects, like they are doing a whole lot of really technical research, testing, going back over this stuff in order to truly understand it. There's no way you're going to be able to say they were doing physics, the principles of physics in 2000 BC. How the heck they pull that off? How they gonna tell you about something like cosmic background radiation?
You should have went
Come
to the moon, shouldn't it? You should have went right to the moon
No.
from there.
So we're using, and that's why I read from that source, because like he's saying, like you're messing up the context of the word. If you just say science and then everything you say means science, then cooking is science, setting the fire is science. Like you lose the meaning of the word. We're losing the meaning of the word, and that's where I assess the problems coming in. Go ahead.
No, I don't got nothing to say.
Hey,
All right, good.
let me.
Hold on, no. We're going down the line on what we think you're messing up.
So,
Go ahead,
so
go ahead, Preem, and then you can come in, Donna. Go ahead, Preem.
no, I wanted to go to
I
so
got you.
where
Yeah, go ahead.
where where the problem coming in is the word science, because the
Okay.
word science can be applied and used as knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
is being in anything that they built, used, discovered,
Mm-hmm.
or that they looked at, and it helped move society forward. They're
Mm.
applying that as science because it's
Got you.
knowledge.
Got you.
That's
Yeah.
Simple. Okay.
Let me jump in.
Yeah, good.
I'm not gonna give a statement. I'm just gonna let the source talk. Astrology in early history. Early civilizations regarded the stars and planets as evidence of supernatural powers that could magically affect their lives. From the writings of Babylonian priests, we know that they would interpret various astronomical events as omens, using their principles of analogy or laws of correspondence. The Babylonian priests would claim to foretell the future state of affairs of their kings based on the positions of celestial bodies. For example, a red colored Mars was a sign of blood and imminent war. A stellar constellation resembling two fish referred to water. What part of that is astronomy? I digress.
All right.
none of it.
All right. So my assessment is that there's a real need for scientific literacy, because scientific literacy will help you understand that terms can be applied loosely. That in the historical conversation, you just keep everything historical. In the loose conversation, keep everything loose. From day one, I was having a historical conversation. So Thunder is applying it loosely, where the ants have science, Homo erectus has science, the chimpanzees has science, Homo erectus, everybody has science simply because they have knowledge, because the word science means knowledge. We are applying the definition strict to what the modern enterprise matured as science. And there's things that you need to have science, right? And we talk about all the things you need to have science. The issue is the conscious community has been promoting Black root science, Black science, Egyptian science, right? No one actually sat down to today, right? And to these last few shows, right? And actually told us, hey man, that's not actually science. They know what it is because they say it's the white man's science, because they think it's using long, large, and big words and all that. That's exactly what it is. A lot of large words, a lot of terminology. It's actually as hard as everybody know it to be. And that's why they said it was the white man's science. And so we all know in the back of our head that white man got something, right? That we ain't have. But you know what you forget? You forget that I actually brought the history to show you that the very foundations of science, the knowledge, the accumulated knowledge over time started in Africa first. And for 300,000 years in Africa, that accumulated knowledge accumulated until it popped up and left the world and formed civilizations. But it's the accumulated knowledge. And those civilizations would also accumulate knowledge. And it culminates at the point where the gods are no longer the authority. The authority is no longer men. The authority is actually the phenomenon itself. Nobody actually told us that, y'all. So thunder is suffering for what nobody actually told us. And in general conversations anywhere, no one actually tells you that. So with that, that's my closing statement for this evening.
All right. Thank you. So what I would like to say in closing is number one, I appreciate y'all letting me on. Chop it up a little bit.
You're a homeboy. You're a homeboy. Absolutely.
You did a great job.
Come on.
You did a good job beating me up today. That's a good job. I can't hate on you. You definitely did a great job beating me up today.
Come on.
And but I'll just say this. I think y'all need to get a better grip on what ancient history is and modern history. It's sad that we have to keep going. We have to keep doing this, but that's where y'all putting this. We have ancient history and we have modern history. We have ancient science and we have modern science. Does history not be history because it was ancient? Is science not science because it's ancient? You all are making piss poor arguments against. Stop, Cedric. Stop. I ain't saying nothing while y'all talk. I ain't saying nothing. Mute your mic, said. You've been muting my mic all day. Mute your mic. Mute your mic, said.
Okay. I got a question.
Be fair, said. Come on, mute your mic. All right, thank you. So that's fine. I'll take the big screen. Now, we have several men on this panel that says, oh, here we go. Yo, Gideon. Science isn't ancient, buddy. Right? So when we have science not being ancient, and this is being really said from everybody on the panel, they are ignoring the experts. They are ignoring the historians. But more importantly, they are ignoring history. You are in a dangerous space when you can go against me and believe that.
Okay,
Cedric.
That's the end of your spell.
Yeah, that was enough.
That's
that
the
was
end of
enough.
that.
I got a question.
That's the end of that.
Why can I not finish?
That's the end of that.
Why can't I finish? Why can't I
that
finish?
was comedy right there.
All right, good. So let me
That's the end of that.
Y'all keep cutting me off. I ain't cut y'all off. Everybody
You're gonna say
I ain't saying nothing.
look, it's impossible that you think you have the finesse or the articulation or the words to slip your nonsense. Slip your nonsense in there. This is what the ASAP. No, there is no letting them have it with me. Now, Thunder has illustrated and demonstrated his utter ignorance and doubled down on it, right? We just illustrated that from the moment you have different definitions of a word in the dictionary, you cannot, we can hear you. You cannot say, you cannot be talking about the same thing. There are 5 different definitions. The moment you try to, we're using one definition and you equate another definition to the same is indicative of your ignorance. If there are different definitions, you have to be within the context of the same definition. We are obviously know what context you are in. We are using one. You are talking about number 5 right now. So that means you're functionally out of this conversation. The fact that that has been displayed to you, I said quiet. You didn't get the point that they were trying to make. Ankh is right. You can't even figure out the goddamn dictionary, bro. You're that slow. Now, for a man that claims to have 2 degrees and working on a 3rd one, then I can only conclude you're a moron and an idiot. Because you are trying to do something that is incoherent and you cannot do. You are going to tie yourself up in knots, right? And I'm not going to let you discredit or continue to say the nonsense you're saying. I get to put you off over here at the point we realize that we are beyond your capacity to understand. The fact that you've read from the moment you saw 2 definitions of the word, you should have understand that you're talking about a category error. There are 5 definitions. And you insist on making the category error. That is indicative of your utter ignorance, and you've just been a moron at this point. I don't
All
know
right,
why
good.
you let
I'm not
somebody
even
put
talking
batteries in
about
your
no
back.
definition.
I do not know why you let somebody put batteries in your back.
I am
Send you
not
up there.
talking about a
And in this
definition.
environment, to
You
be
all are trying to make
completely
me talk
made
about
a
a
fool of.
definition.
You see, Unc is going to have a conversation
But
with you.
that, but
I am going to clown you. I am going to clown you. That's what's
All
exactly
right,
what you're doing.
hold
You're
on
up
for a
here to
minute.
be a
Hold on for a
clown,
minute.
Hey,
and I'm going to
Thunder ain't the
clown
Hold
you.
only
on for a
one on
You're
the
a
minute.
panel,
moron
can I
for
y'all.
say
being an
Hold
something?
on.
idiot at this.
Hold
Thunder ain't the only one
no.
up here, y'all.
Hold on. Everybody, hold on. Stop for one moment. Listen. You know, Thunder, my friend, yo, and I don't actually think he's stupid. I don't actually think he's none of that. I say he got it honest. If we're gonna sit here on this panel and think that that's not how what we're doing is not hard and difficult, then that's disingenuous right there. It is super hard. It requires you to comprehend things. It's like how a person told me, yo, you have told me the whole time, read Wikipedia, read Encyclopedia Britannica. But yet when I see the word there, it's saying that, and then you saying don't believe Britannica no more. Right? So and that's a running theme there. Okay? So that means there's another class that has to be had. That's why I asked them, then why not challenge me on the uses of the word?
Can I
Right?
finish,
So
please? That's all I'm asking.
that's the
If your
point.
Thunder was your genuine friend, he wouldn't be up here being disingenuous and trying to derail the
Can
But he
I
conversation.
been doing it,
please finish?
but he been doing it since he ever stopped on YouTube. This ain't like
Well,
this
that's
Pretty
yesterday.
fine.
much.
I get them to actually illustrate what he's doing. He's being a moron. He's
Can I
being an
please?
idiot,
Can I
and he's
please
being a
finish?
jackass. Right?
Come on,
Because
Thunder,
only a
You know what
let
it
moron,
him
is,
finish,
man?
only a
Thunder.
moron, nobody cut me off. Only a moron would insist on derailing the conversation. Yesterday, we illustrated the simple fact that these people were dead prior to the establishment of the scientific method. They were foundational pillars in it. Thunder comes up here again and trying to ask why these people wouldn't be scientists. At that point, you are not trying to learn, you are being a
Yeah.
moron.
Can I
I'm
please
not,
have 2
I,
minutes?
I do not
Let
have the
somebody else get a
Can I?
discipline
chance,
to
Thunder.
Can I
engage
Please,
moron.
let
please?
somebody else get a
No, you
chance,
don't. No,
bro.
you don't get to
Hey,
please. At this point, you don't talk anymore. You are
hey,
not
Let
hey,
me
talking
ask him a
again.
question.
quick
The
question, and then
conversation is
quick
over. There's no more
quick
dialogue. The
quick
dialogue is
question.
over. Either you leave or you
Quick question, Cedric.
sit
Yeah,
through the abuse
he
now.
gotta wait his turn. Quick question, Cedric. Quick question for you, Cedric. Cedric and everybody on the panel. Do y'all actually think I was talking to Thunder? I wasn't. And I hope
No,
y'all wasn't actually talking to Thunder.
no.
I was talking to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to Thunder's kids and grandkids. I'm not talking to Thunder. I just want to get this straight. I don't know what y'all doing is. I'm not even trying to convince Thunder. Right? I'm teaching and talking to the audience. I hope somebody say, well, they did say maybe that word can be used several ways. Maybe I should understand what that is. I'm done.
All right, y'all gonna let me
Yeah,
finish?
go ahead, bro. I'll
Go,
let you
let
go.
All right,
somebody
I
else get a
appreciate it.
chance,
Thank you.
y'all. Thunder been
So,
speaking for an hour and a half, bro.
Nick, go ahead. Go ahead,
can
man.
I
Yeah,
Go
I
can I
ahead.
agree.
can I finish about 2 minutes
Hold
from
on,
No,
now?
you
No,
come
Thunder,
back around. Wait till
no.
come back around
bro.
to
Let
you, Thunder.
somebody
Let
else
it come
get a
back
Wait a
around
chance,
to
minute,
you.
bro.
Dream.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Anthony a question if I could. Anthony, you mentioned astrologia, and you
Yeah,
said it was a mix of astronomy and astrology, and that modern science kind of separated them.
yeah.
My question is, when they separated astronomy from astrologia, did they keep the astronomy that those astrologia people were using when did they just take out did they get rid of the astrology and keep some of the astronomy?
No, they got rid of the notion that there was a causal. The gods. They stripped away the meaning of what those people thought they were observing.
But they
Yeah,
stripped
that's
away the
deep.
astrology.
Yeah, that became
Yeah, that's
astrology.
important. Yeah, yeah, that's
But did
important.
they keep the astronomy?
They kept the measurements.
Right.
The
Did the measurements
That
that
was
they
correct.
kept, what they
That was
kept,
correct.
what they kept be considered to be science?
No, that's
No.
proto-science.
No, that's
It's
proto
proto
science.
science. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
proto. That's
it,
proto.
Cedric, do you mind if I ask you one question and then I'm out?
Go ahead, man.
Said on the thumbnail that you used yesterday, you separated the pseudo killers and the barbershop boys.
and you labeled the pseudo killers as the methodological naturalist, and the barbershop boys were the natural philosophers. You also went on to say that the pseudo killers were intellectually above the barbershop boys, that they weren't really on y'all's level. And I'm wondering, do you think that it's the same way, since you labeled them? Do you think it's the same way that methodological naturalists were intellectually superior to those natural philosophers?
No, again, you're confusing two different things. One is a conversation where you're shooting the shit and it's hyperbole, right? And the other is indicative of the frame of references
Damn, I
that we're
can't hear
seeing.
said, man.
Natural philosophers tend to make stuff up, right, by fiat based on their deductive reasoning, where methodological naturalists tend to let nature, the evidence, and the data speak for itself. So this is where we have the fundamental epistemic rupture in the community. A group that thinks they have the opportunity to make stuff up, do historical revisionism, do semantic flim-flam, while we over here sticking to academic and scientific rigor. That is the
Do
distinction there.
semantic.
In terms of
While
the
we over
intelligence
here sticking to
in terms of
academic
the
and scientific
intelligence
rigor.
issue,
That is the distinction there.
that
Somebody
was
has to
in
mute their
In
mic.
terms
You
of
got to
the
mute some mics.
sticking to
Somebody's
academic of the intelligence
playing the
issue.
thing while you
That
talking,
is
brother. If you can.
Cream. Yeah. So, so that it is indicative of what we actually represent in this community, right? We come from an era where people just used to make stuff up. We moved the goalposts and got people to source up. Now people think any source is an accurate source. Now we're moving to the next level. You have to have synthesis and actually understand this information. Now, so we're looking at the philosophical frameworks under which we're operating, since this is the discussion we're having. I choose to frame it like that so people see the difference that we're experiencing here, right? A group that wants to make it up as they go, and another group that is sticking academically to what the data says and what the information actually is. We are simply science communicators. Why are you arguing with what the science says? Because you want
Right,
the
but
authority to make it up.
I guess I'm more interested in the differences, not between you guys and the barbershop boys. I'm more interested in natural philosophers and methodological naturalists. Do you think the methodological ones
Yeah, but
are more
you kind of
intelligent?
brought it up. You kind of brought it up a little bit. You
Yeah,
brought it
so
up.
now
You
in
brought that up.
terms of that would be presentism, right? In terms of equation, no, that was their system and it worked, right? It was holistic and it worked, right, for them based on the acquired information that they had at that time. The Chinese, again, is a perfect example. They were far more technologically advanced than the West, yet their system didn't require science, right? Methodological naturalism. They stayed within the realm of natural philosophy, chi being their overarching philosophical principle.
Right. And the methodological stuff was just building on the natural philosophy.
No, it's an epistemic rupture, a complete shift in a complete dismantling and production of a new system. That's why that's how Francis Bacon is instrumental and foundational. He established what we call the framework, what we know as methodological naturalism. And then you get these fundamental pillars that we talk about, Galileo, Newton, because of them creating and establishing fundamental pillars within the scientific method. However, the
And
scientific method wasn't formalized while these gentlemen were alive. It
and the
formalized.
work that and none of the work that the methodological naturalists did includes anything that the natural philosophers use. They don't include any of their work.
The data is universal. The way you engage with the data is fundamentally different. So
Okay.
the argument y'all are
That's
trying
a
to
great
make
point.
is
I
something that
said that's you gotta say that again. That's a great point there.
yeah,
Say it again.
I
The data.
insist on saying that the data
Hmm.
remains the same. It is how you interpret that data, is how you process that data that fundamentally changes. right? So now when you fundamentally look at the data, you are going to look at it different. You are going to apply different systems, and some of the stuff you are going to completely discard, right? But it's the data that exists that you are using, right? Because it is the knowledge that is there that needed to be re-examined, examined, and create a new structure of engaging with it. That authoritative system whereby Aristotle had his philosophical frame of thought, and all so-called knowledge was developed within that philosophical framework. So it was opposite to how we operate now. You had a belief, you had an inductive argument or idea based on your observations, how you saw nature, right?
Last
So
question, I promise.
go ahead.
So why
Whoa,
do
whoa, 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 whoa,
methodological?
whoa. Hold on, stop,
Last
stop.
question, I promise, Unc. It's
No,
the
no, no,
last
no,
question.
no, 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 no. Hold the question. I'm saying so. Rewind slightly. You said he said they broke away from the Greek authority, yo, and it was a few events that caused them to completely scrap it. They scrapped it all. They was like, oh no, we're not listening to nothing they said. Because remember, they had actually measured the earth. I think it's 250. Aristophanes, right? And so you would say, okay, they knew the earth was round, right? But then they came to the conclusion that if
325.
somebody lived on the other side, 345, they said if somebody lived on the other side, then they'd be walking upside down with some of that crap. So they said it's Europe, Africa, and Asia. That was it. And it was solid like that for 2,000 years until watch this. Europeans bumped into it. It was luck, bro. That was luck. And that luck, right? And printing press and a few other things, they was like, wait a minute, man. We that authority was wrong. They didn't know. They system they had that we're grounded in. They told it in the university. They was like, no, 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 no. We're scrapping that. And they scrapped it. But it was luck. And then there's slavery and there's everything else. And out of all of that, scientific race, all that, bro, is coinciding with the scientific revolution. Money. And now you can make more money for looking at the stars because we need people that can really navigate these oceans and all that. Why? Because now it's profit. We need better things. Now you can start applying what you know for real at a level that will get you paid. But who got the money to do that? The people who's running the international economy now. So if you could name a society that was international, there wasn't. It's just Europe. They're the only ones that went global, bro. They was first to go global. That's important to this thing we talking about. Now they know it's more continents. Now they understand the flora, right? And the fauna, right? Now they can say, whoa, it's different, bro. It's luck, bro. That shit's lucky, yo. They just got lucky.
Right.
It
So I
was
guess
luck.
my last question kind of follows on to that. If they scrapped all of the natural philosophers' work, and maybe I just don't know enough, but why I think Francis Bacon, I think, is considered the father of some type of science. Like if they scrapped all their work, why do they honor all of these natural philosophers and call some of them the father of science, the father of the, we're like, why do they do that if they've scrapped their work?
But Cedric said they didn't scrap their work.
First of all,
They didn't
um,
take that.
first of all, Francis Bacon, he established the framework, what we call methodological naturalism. So he is the father of what we now know as science, the method that we use. It was developed based on the framework that he established, meaning he was a
So they
natural
did keep
philosopher.
some of their work.
His work was
Oh, they don't get it.
creating this new system.
No,
That
he didn't.
was
He didn't.
his
No,
work.
he didn't get it. Hey, Cedric, you got to rewind. He don't. You said your answer was they kept the data. He doesn't know that the work is actually the data.
Yeah.
There was data that was produced, bro. Like like like
Is it the
like like
data
like they
or is
didn't
it the?
scrap. They didn't.
I thought it
Hold
was
on. They
the
didn't. Whoa
scientific
whoa 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 whoa
method.
whoa
Is
whoa.
it the
No no
data
no
or
no
the
no no no
method?
no. Ho. Stop. I got you. They didn't scrap that the Earth wasn't flat. They kept that data. Remember at three. Well, I don't know. Somebody said three something. You know they actually measured. That's the start of
325.
geodesy. Yeah, yo, they
325.
so why are we gonna that's the data, bro? You don't get that? They didn't throw that away, they kept the data.
Right, but he's the father of the scientific method, and the
No, but you
scientific
gotta
method
no,
isn't
but
data.
no, bro. Listen, it is data drip. Okay.
It's data
Bro.
driven, but it's not data.
No, you said the Greek
Getting the
philosophers. Let's
data
not
is
get
one part of
confused.
the scientific method, though.
No, let's not get hold on, whoa. There's confusion in the air. Let's get the confusion out the air. You said that if they scrapped, this is what you said, don't change on me. You said, yo, I thought you said they scrapped the ancients, or the Greek philosophers. The brother said they kept the data, and you keep mixing it up. So I'm not going forward in the conversation till you say, you know what? There's a difference between scrapping their mind shift and keeping the data. That is germane to this conversation right here. I refuse to go forward if we're not all on the board with that. Because that is where the weak spot is
I
right now.
agree. I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, Thunder made that same mistake. He kept trying
Yeah,
to say
I'm not going forward. Nope. Hey, yo, we got to treat them like the natural phenomenon treat them. You can't go forward. It doesn't make sense.
right.
He has to know this man, as clear as day, said there's a paradigm shift having nothing to do with the data that the earth is round. They didn't throw that away. The nigga at 3 something came up with that. He literally did that right, bro. Why throw
Yeah,
that away?
and there we say it all the time, American Dream, that the proto is the foundation to where we at today. So no, they didn't throw everything away. I mean, there was some good material there, but it was also a bunch of bad material there. So it had to be separated. And there are steps in the scientific method that go way back. The scientific method just didn't pop up into Bacon's mind. You know what I'm saying? There are aspects that have been built upon for thousands of years, but it didn't all come together until the scientific revolution. So no, we've never said they got rid of everything. No, we've never said that. We've only said that it was the foundation, the proto part of the science. Proto astronomy is not astronomy. It's the forerunner to it. And that's what we've always said. It's a process. It didn't just happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? It took time to get to the scientific revolution. And Unc laid that out perfectly in from the jump. But they had a problem with proto. You know what I'm saying? They took the word proto and tried to say we were trying to say that those people were less intelligent and all this craziness. But it's a process, dog. It ain't no different from anything. You build up on it and it gets better. I mean, can you imagine if they'd have, when the Model T Ford was invented, when Ford came out with the Model T Ford and we just stayed right there, what would we be driving right now? We'll be driving a Model T. But no, it was built on. And now we got Corvettes and all kind of shit, all kind of vehicles. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? So it was aspects that were good, and then there was some stuff that couldn't be, tested or whatever the case may be. So you had to separate it, you had to get rid of it. And that was the scientific revolution, if that makes sense. But I put a source in the chat, dog. Check that source out, American Dream, when you get a chance, dog.
You put it in the back.
No, I put it in the live chat. I can put it in the bag though. That's no problem. Well, no,
Yeah,
I can't.
I'd appreciate that.
I can't put it in the bag because I did it from my phone. But
Man,
it's in the live
I
chat.
got a challenge for all of us. Because at this point, it's clear to me what this whole month long, 2 month, however long it's been, it's clear to me the points of contention. I challenge everybody, pseudo killers, and all of the other community. when you come across while we're especially while we're having this discussion, if you come across the word science, don't just assume what it means. Use context clues. This is part of reading comprehension. Use the context clues and determine. Damn, we know it's five. My man read the dictionary. He pulled it right out of the dictionary. I know it's 5 different meanings for science. Which meaning are they using in this context? And what I'm finding is the other side is being disingenuous because they know what we mean. I've read the definition of science. I've been on at least 3 or 4 panels. I've read the definition directly to people like Thunder, like Chef. They fully understand what we mean when we're saying it, but they're purposely applying another definition to what we're saying just to have a aha gotcha moment. It shouldn't be about that. It should be about, damn, what is my man really trying to say? But that wasn't the premise. That's why I say I've used the word bad faith numerous times in this discussion. When Ankh first had his presentation, they were in bad faith, just looking for a gotcha moment because I guess he done messed up their brain so many times that they gonna take any chance they can to get him back. They weren't saying, damn, well, what is he really trying to say? They like, no, got you. You used this word wrong. Your slide was wrong. You this. Like when Thunder came on, your E ain't capitalized. You missed the period. That's the type of shit that they're focusing on. And when they're knowingly taking the definition that we don't mean, but still insisting on it. Well, this is that. Man, listen. The bottom line is, if you taking science just to mean knowledge, then yeah, y'all right. But that's not how we're using it. And no matter how many times we say it, they just ignore it, gloss over it. Just like today, Thunder. I read the primary definition of science. He wants to leap over that and then go to one of the lesser used definitions. You know what I mean? Like, but if we gonna do that, then we're never gonna get to a common place where we're understanding. It's just gonna be 2 opposing sides bumping heads constantly. So I challenge everybody. When you come across the word science, use the context clues and say, all right, what is this actually trying to say? And what do they actually mean by science? Because as obviously by the 5 definitions, it's all different things based on context. And that'll be my last word for the day. I challenge everybody to
Hey,
do that.
American Dream, I got a question for you. Thunder rolled out, but I got a question. Yeah. Do you think when we say that we're practicing modern science and that's something that those old civilizations didn't practice, do you feel like we are taking away something from them or devaluing them or like calling them primitive or something like that? Do you get that feeling when you hear us talk?
Um, Sometimes, yes. Which is why I asked the question of, do y'all think that they are just as intelligent as the methodological naturalists? Do you think
It
the
has
people that
never
came
been a
before them are just
discussion
as
about
intelligent?
intelligence. It has never been a discussion about intelligence. It
Nope.
Yeah.
absolutely hasn't.
Nope.
It has always been a
Nope.
conversation about methodology, systems, right? That we're having a systems conversation. I keep saying methodological naturalism is science. Why? It is a philosophical framework. You see different philosophical frameworks throughout history. What you do see consistently coming back is certain aspects. You see observation, 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 observation over the same timeline. So now all of a sudden you assume that all the observations is the equal the same. You're observing the same thing, but from a different objective in each instance, right? When the ancients, I mean the animists, the early humans, when they saw the bush rustle, right? They gave agency. What is moving the bush? That's their observation. You go a little bit further, the Egyptians say Ra is moving the bush. Same observation. You go a little bit further, the Greeks say the force within the leaves is causing the vibration of the bush. Right? This is all stages of observation. Modern science says when moving at certain rate. You can calculate whole different explanation, but the same observation. My eyes did not move from that spot. That's the observation. I am measuring to build a pyramid for the gods, right? That's measurement. Now I'm conducting a measurement to determine the wave function collapse. The word measurement comes back. Is it the same thing we're doing? Is it the same thing we're doing because you hear the word measurement in that equation? This is the conversation that we're having, and it's redundant. It doesn't make sense. We are all adults here. This is nonsense.
So, I mean,
What
I
are we
absolutely hear
doing?
what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying, but I think, like I said before, when you, and I do think that you don't believe that the modern folks were more intelligent than the natural philosophers. But I do think that when you make a thumbnail and put natural philosophers as the barbershop boys and you guys as the methodological people, it just doesn't help to make the point
That's
that
Yes,
what we
it
you
bringing
is.
don't
back.
think
It
that
is
anyone is more
exactly.
superior.
It
That's what we bringing back.
exactly what it is. It's illustrative of the epistemic rupture. Natural philosophers were deductive. They watched the phenomena and thought that they could philosophize and hypothesize as to what was actually going on. It was the arrogance of the human being. It was the authority that remained with the human being. In this conversation, we're seeing exactly that. Individuals think that they because they got modern and then ancient, we're collapsing that and meaning the same thing. Ancients had sloppy observations, presentism, doing exactly all the things that they're not supposed to do, make stuff up. That is within the realm of natural philosophy. You get to deductive reason about things versus a systematic approach that you're seeing being done over here. We are science communicators. We are step by step, methodologically bringing forth the information with the accurate terminology, putting things in their proper context. That is academic rigor. That is the scientific method. So that is that is the difference we see in there. Why does one of those systems become international and applied everywhere? Because of
Right.
its universality, right? That's the scientific method. It is universally applicable, whereas natural philosophy is not universally applicable. And that is the difference, not intelligence, it's utility.
Right. Let me use a recent example. Y'all know I'm an HVAC tech, right? And when I first got in the field, you got to do a whole lot of book learning. And I learned about latent heat, latent, latent heat. Now, I was no dumber before I got into HVAC, but they exposed me to something that I had no idea of. You know how you sitting in the house and there's 80 degrees in the house, but you feel cool. You like, I don't even need to turn the AC on. You like open up the windows, and you feel cool. But then 2 days later, that same 80 degrees, you like, God dang, it's muggy. You sweating. You're like, oh snap, man, turn the AC on, close the windows. And you try to cool the place off. That's called latent heat. It's hidden. It's the moisture in the air. The moisture, you get more humidity, more moisture, you feel warmer. You can have high humidity and it be 65 degrees out, and you'd be like, oh, that ain't so bad. You be like, oh, chill. You let the humidity drop. All of a sudden, that 65 degrees feel cold. You're like, dang, I need a jacket. Latent. All right. And so I was no dumber. I was no dumber. It's just that I got exposed to something that I just had no knowledge of. And so now I understand it. So think about the Asians the same way. If and then what the change in the way that they started approaching this thing meant. So when they started saying, look, we got to figure out why what's making it warmer because it's a study. It's a field in weather and all. It's called psychrometrics, right? And they had to figure it out. They was like, well, god dang, something's going on. So now you can grab a psychrometric table and it'll show you how warmer air holds more water molecules, colder air doesn't, right? And so it's a whole science behind it, right? And you know knowledge and study and all that. And so my point is that once you start you start saying, well, why? And you start like figuring out molecules and the periodic table. You start learning all this stuff, and man, that just opens your mind to a whole new way of thinking. Once you move all the barriers out the way that stop you from digging into that kind of stuff, you take off. And that's why, what has it been, y'all? What, 400 years? No, almost 300 years. Look how much we've done in 300 years. We are rocking. Yo, they just took some material. I just watched the Neil deGrasse. Somebody dropped the Neil deGrasse show in the Discord. They just went to an asteroid, took a sample, and brought it back. All because we said, no, man, I got to figure out why. What's making this do this? And look at what it led to. We took off. That in and of itself should tell you that they weren't thinking like we thinking right now. You can give them science all you want. They were not thinking like we thinking. And the way that we're thinking has allowed us to do some technological stuff, man, that is, we got new humans. We call them robots. Walking around talking to folks. We got new humans. There wasn't nobody thinking about that. I remember when I watched the Jetsons as a little kid, man, I thought that was crazy. I'm living
right now. We're doing Star Trek. We're doing Star Trek right now.
Yeah. So I mean, come on. I mean, if somebody is just honest with this conversation, there's no way you could think that they were doing what we were doing 2,000 years ago. You know how far humanity would be right now? Good Lord. Okay, I'm going on here.
Yeah, okay, folks. I had to let Joel get his spill off, but you see there we've reached the 3 hour and 31 minutes. I let the show go an hour and a half over because the conversation was interesting. Shout out to Thunder for coming up here. And shout out for coming and proving exactly my point, the point I was making from the beginning. Folks, I'm going to let everybody get a round close out. Sabio, start with you. You were quite the longest. You get the floor, close out.
Yeah, so what's up, man? I appreciate it. I appreciate what Joel just said, and it we have to quit. People have to quit making these errors because they want to give more to a certain continent because that's really what it is. It it's looking at Africa and saying that Africans had science and trying to apply that to every ancient culture. Once we discredit Africa. We have to quit doing that as a people and just give those people exactly what they had because it worked for those people and it allowed us to be where we are today. So without their knowledge, we wouldn't have cell phones.
Facts. American Dream. American Dream, you get to close out.
Yeah, well, I don't really have much else to say other than thanks for bringing me in. The last time I spoke with Ankh about this issue, and his concern was he mentioned something about blackology, and he said that a lot of the people that want for there to be science, and because I think this whole conversation started with whether there was science in Africa, and then he said it was just blackology talk. But I think that the main thing that these blackologists want is kind of to make it clear that they are just as intelligent. The proto-scientists were not any less intelligent than the modern Europeans that created this modern science. They believe that these modern Europeans just had more tools to work with, more data, And so it doesn't make them any more intelligent. It just makes them more equipped. And I think that's the main
Absolutely
point that
agree.
blackologists are trying to make. And I think that's kind of important as well. And I think that, you know, we should keep that in mind as well in terms of the things we say, the thumbnails we put up, because those things may rub some people the wrong way. Other than that, thank you so much for your time, Ced. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir, and I completely concur. And that's why it's blackology, because we never said anything of the like, we never inferred anything of the sort. And to be triggered by actually seeing a correct historical narrative, that is what is the blackology about. Anthony, you got the floor.
Yeah, appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you, fam. Before I give my closing thought, I want to answer a question that was in the chat. They only knew of 5 planets, the ones that they could actually see. Uranus and Neptune weren't discovered until the scientific revolution, when we got tools and built up off of that knowledge, you know, that was handed down. It was Newton's laws that helped discover Neptune. You know what I'm saying? So that's one. Neptune and Uranus you can't see with the naked eye. You can't see them; they're too far away. So with that being said, when you scientifically literate, they can't drag you down to their level and beat you up with experience. Peace out.
Peace, Anthony. That's a fact. I'll give the floor to the God Killer.
Simply put, I heard what American Dream said. I suggest you tune in to episode 1 of when this conversation really started. And I did exactly what I've been doing for the last 20 years. I was Black African power in this bitch. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Tune in to episode 1, the prelogue, how this all started, featuring the God Killer himself. Stay tuned. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another CedTalk. Today, Reggie got his just due. Many more to come. Stay tuned to the God Killer. And with that, let's take you out of here with this.
Great show, Ced.
Thank you.
What's your ideology? Seems to be a question round here lately. What's your ideology? Seems to be the question round here lately. Every discussion rooted in blackology, fueled by the lack of integrity. Case in point, the so-called Reggie, misleading the people, high-level foolery. Smash, come of us, king's monologue. It must be a conspiracy. Nostalgia got them stuck in the past. Always reliving history. Ask Dr. Ben and Clark. Say their names, here's our spark. All one big fantasy. Smoke and mirrors, only confusion, no clarity. The nigga bro, no crazy. Van Serma and Rashidi. Now they teaching God energy, but that's another story. Reggie out here seeking glory. For him it's about his legacy. Highest to the movement ended prematurely. Reggie was denied his opportunity. He sighed at the feet so surely. your ideology seems to be the question round here lately. Confirmation bias or research quality, cherry picking data. That's a tragedy. Call yourself a scholar, then it's a travesty. You know it's like keep it trying to make science black. Who's confuses science with technology? Reggie, is this your idea? Everything a flame for blackology. A black city plan. Let me not digress. Don't wanna get lost in that mess. Even the skin map. Reggie tried to contest that.